So not all degrees matter, but not in that sense. In that way that where you went to school still makes a difference for those that are steeped in academia. They know that the quality of your education matters. You know, years ago was more so, right? We understood that a degree from Harvard meant a lot more than a degree from, well, just about wherever. But one of the things we realized when we got into the field, for those of us that were in academia, steeped in academia, that always knew they were going to be an academic in some sort of sense. They knew that. When you got into the real world, it wasn't as important, right? Your degree wasn't as important as your actual work experience. That became the mainstay. That became the thing that was most important, the thing that was talked about more and more and more. Where you went to school is what people cared about. Well, your level of experience is what people care about. To the point now that people get upset that, hey, I'm applying for this job and if they need me to have 25 years experience, but I'm 21 years old. But I went to Harvard, I went to Columbia. Doesn't really matter. Some fields it doesn't matter. Some careers it doesn't matter. But then there are others where it is of critical importance. And for those of you that know or they're new here, one of my undergrad degree is in forensic psychology. I wanted to be a clinician. I wanted to be a therapist. Psychology is probably my first love, the first thing that truly held my interest. And I consider myself an academic, I consider myself quite smart. And I, did my undergrad, then started my master's, and then life came knocking and life said, hey, that's cool. That's cool. I'm glad you thought that was a thing that you were going to be able to do. But in reality, you have to step up and help out the family. So that's what I had to do. I had to go get a big boy job. Right? No regrets on that. But that's life. But for those that are going that track, once I was doing my master's in forensic psychology, you understood you had to go now and start looking for, well, where are you going to do your doctorate? Your PsyD or your actual doctorate, where you're going to get this, because that was critical. That mattered. You couldn't just get it from some other place. By other place, I mean a place that was not APA accredited. What does that mean? American Psychological Association. They set the bar. They tell you, hey, this place you can study at, we have done this rigorous testing, and you may not agree with it. You may not like it. You may look at it and say it's another facet of control. Cool, whatever. This thing is regulated. You have to go through here. If you want to cross the bridge, you have to pay the toll. That's the toll. APA accreditation was the golden standard for psychology. If you didn't have that, then you didn't have a place worthy of getting a degree. And it mattered. This is, okay, if you want to go with the awful part of it where they keep the thumb on the little guy, most places where you wanted to go get your degree, you couldn't do that there. Hey guys in the chat, if you're new here, just jump in the chat. Best way to support the channel is just by seeing some activity. That's great for the algorithm. For those that are new here, we'll get through a little monologue intro first, and then we'll do a little introductions. But APA accreditation mattered because they set the standard. They said, you've tested rigorously. You have been here. Muhammad, what's going on? You have been here rigorously, and we have decided that you are worthy of going forward. So if you got your doctorate, right, in whatever, in a field pertaining to psychology, to clinicians, you had to go through a college that was APA accredited. They had to hold on most of them. When people wanted to transition into doing online schooling outside of brick and mortar, there were some degrees where you could not do that, and for good reason, right? As you can imagine, you probably didn't want to have a doctor operator in you that never actually interned, that was never inside of a hospital, that never had to go through that process, that rigorous process that says, hey, when I take this scalpel and I cut into you, trust and believe, I'm trained for this. That's the deal we kind of make when we go with these people that have these sort of degrees, have this carte blanche history and ability to affect this. You may not agree with it, but psychology is the same way. It's a scalpel through your mind to help you, guide you, understand things. But at least the APA, at least the United States, at least education understands we need to have a process in here that makes sense, that protects people from, well, just wayward sort of help. Because it's very easy, just like you're operating with someone's brain or a nerve or an artery, you nick something and there could be long lasting consequences. So, how do you protect that? In an imperfect world, in an imperfect society, what do? Well, you put standards, right? Like anything else. You get a German car. Where do you want to go? You want to go and get it serviced. Well, you hope he knows anything about how the Germans like to over-engineer their perfection. I have an Audi. I've had 2 Audis. I love Audis. First Audi I was an Audi S5. Then I threw a supercharger in that. When you went to work in that engine bay, everything was tight. Everything was tight. When it came time, my brother looked at the car. He's like, kind of wanted it. I said, listen, you have to understand. Anytime this thing gets sick, right? That APA accredited technician, it costs $1,000 to fix this. Just because the man hours to get in there properly and to put things back together, it takes time, it takes expertise, and that's what you're paying for. So the human mind, you would think that this would be especially special. You have to be technical. You have to be exacting. So APA goes around, tells schools, hey, we can rock with you. You're good for us. Yes, bread. Bread. We can rock with you. You're good. Stamp of approval, stamp of approval, stamp of approval. We like it. We love it. Keep pushing. Keep going. Great. This way they can limit how many schools just pop up there. So around the same time when I was looking and hunting for possibilities where I was going to do a doctorate, and even when I had to go get a big boy job, you saw the rise of the paper mill. Schools that were for profit that simply were churning out degrees. Places where you can attend online. But things that traditionally you had to be in person, you had to go in brick and mortar. And it was curious, So I started looking, saying, hey, if I could still obtain my dreams of having a degree in psychology where I can become a therapist and I can treat people, this would be perfect. So I looked at a couple, sent some emails, sent some feelers out. And then I started looking and say, okay, how is this? I made the assumption that they were APA accredited. But when you look closer, oh no, you weren't. Oh no, does that matter? That doesn't seem that important, my young mind said. And then as I kept digging, oh no, it's critically important. It's critically important. If you went and attained your degree from a place that was not APA accredited, then when you went to go apply to work at a hospital or go into practice yourself, your licensure, they're saying, okay, where'd you study? Oh, that wasn't accredited. So everything you did up until then doesn't matter. Your degree is still your degree. You can feel proud about that, but it's not useful. You can't go into the wide world and call yourself technically a clinician. You can't call yourself in the terms that people expect and understand that you take your doctorate, you call yourself a therapist. We make the assumption that you're that type of accredited therapist, that you're allowed to practice in that same sense. Take it further, those that actually obtain the ability, the psychiatrists that can actually prescribe drugs, you make the assumption because the public doesn't know this very simple thing. So you trade on it. You're able to attract attention. And therefore, now I just get around some of these things. Hey, yeah, I have patients, but I can't really call them patients in that same sense. If I call myself a therapist, if I call myself a clinician, if I call myself a clinical psychologist, I have to say, I got my doctorate in it, and I hope you don't look further. So when one of such these schools was called Argosy University, Argosy no longer is, it ceased to function. It's defunct now. An interesting thing happens once you obtain your degree that additionally has that accreditation from a school. Let's say you got your degree and it has accreditation from Harvard. Harvard shuts down for whatever reason. They come and say, yo, this is no good. Harvard fell off. Harvard ain't Harvarding. What happens to your degree, your doctorate, and your accreditation? Toast, gone. No longer viable. You can't practice and call yourself that any longer. You'd have to go to another school. You'd have to probably take some classes. You'd have to go through a rigorous process to reestablish your license so you can practice again. Now you think about how difficult that could be for a lot of people that, hey, I'm making a living based on this degree I have from this school that is now defunct. Well, that's the process. they're going in and saying, like most things, they're behind the eight ball. So once you start making schools and handing out degrees that aren't accredited quickly, well, the governmental regulation bodies take time to get to you. When they got to that, they said, oh, all this is fraudulent. All this doesn't meet up to the standards, to the codes. So you're gone. All right. So everyone that holds that degree from there is also, well, now you have to go and un-F that situation. It's not easy. It's tenuous. It's difficult. But if you care about your patients, that's what you're supposed to do. If you care about helping people, that's what you're supposed to do. But in comes social media. In comes an advent of a world where it's easy to say things so you feel good. And that's all I have to do. I'm pandering to you. I'm telling you exactly what you're hearing. It's the benefit of going into someone and being educated while you're talking to people that lack education in that sense. They're street smart, but you can talk circles around them. And I think you know what I'm talking about. You put yourself up against Cam Newton and you start talking and hollering at him. You can talk circles of Cam Newton if you have an education or you're just verbose enough. And that authority is already lent to you because we made the assumptions that when you say you're a doctor, what do? We say, oh, it's not a doctor in geography, history. We think it's specifically this. We think you're the expert and we submit to that authority. So you get to pretend, you get to say the things. But in reality, no, you're just a very insightful, smart woman. And we're talking about Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. I'm not going to discard the doctorate, right? But it is from a defunct college. It is from a college that is no longer viable. It is from someone that holds no licensure. So it's essentially like you have a doctorate in, whatever, theater. You're still a doctor. Is there a doctor on the plane? The captain is having a panic attack and needs some sort of clinical help. Well, it's not you. Right? You could just be someone else. So we're a doctorate in yoga and I'm very, very well versed in my chakras. You're qualified just the same amount. But when someone is attractive, says the right things, attacks the right people in this day and age, you don't really have to be who you say you are. It's until people start digging and you have to backpedal and try to tell the truth. But anyone that's in the know understands immediately what you're saying is wrong. A bunch of us already got that stick, right? The first thing you put out is that she offers life coaching. Exactly. I could be a life coach right now and you couldn't stop me in terms of accreditation. You just say, oh man, I'm a really insightful guy. And that gives me the same amount of authority that she practices with. I'm just not as attractive as she is to be on a stage and wear dresses that are attractive, or I don't have the appropriate cleavage to kind of pull this off. So I'm kind of stuck where I am making YouTube videos, unfortunately. But when she first got a lot of notoriety, and I love psychology. So when I hear people use psychological terms or talk in that sort of way, I perk up, I pay attention. I do a lot of research into this stuff. I like looking at studies. I like studying old psychologists. I like trying to find, pick, and tune. Okay, if and when that opened up in my life, I had time to go back and study. I know I would want to be like, I would want to use behavior, especially when it comes to men. I know we don't really respond to sitting on a couch and talking about our feelings. I would like a blend of sort of disciplines. But again, this is all thought. This is all I know. I can't do anything like that until I got the proper licensing, the proper education, then the licensing. That's what it is. Anything else I offer is, well, hey, he's insightful. This is probably based on some facts and stuff that he looked up and his own personal experience. I think I have enough emotional intelligence and most discipline to also know when I'm wrong, to also be able to admit, hey, yeah, I'd like more information on that. But when she said low vibrational, and we all just looked at it and said, oh, that's cool. Let's add that to the lexicon. Then you started calling all sorts of people low vibrational, but you never sat there and got a definition of low vibrational. Well, a clinician, to sit across from someone for the first time and within less than an hour already begin to diagnose them. We all know Anyone in psychology knows that's a no-no. You cannot do that with any type of authority, with any type of governing authority. It takes time, it takes effort, it takes multiple sessions over multiple hours to be able to make a claim that anyone is something as simple as a narcissist or undefinably low vibrational. This is when you know this. A lot of it is cap, a lot of it is nastiness, a lot of it is BS. We all have access to the DSM, the Diagnostic Manual for Psychology. There's no low vibrational in that. That's a yoga term, right? That's a feeling term. That's a crystals term. That's not a clinician's term. You cannot sit across from Nick Cannon and tell him something is wrong with him when you've been sitting across from Nick Cannon for 45 minutes. Same thing with Cam Newton. Same thing with anyone you see her use her expertise for. But we simply sit there, we buy it because we watch her dance circles around men that are probably not as educated as her. Doesn't mean they're not as successful or more successful. They just aren't verbose. They just can't put together the sentences, the structure, the grammar, the syntax. So what? We see them talking like they normally talk. Paul Pierce, who I'm not a fan of, right? And that's a Celtics, Knicks, New York, Boston thing. But I'm not a fan of, right? Anyone that wears sunglasses inside, indoors, I'm not a fan of you, right? Am I hating on him? There's probably some hate in there too, right? I can admit that. But when you're sitting across from him and you start talking with the big words and he starts and just counters you and is like, yo, what's your relationship status? And you don't have anything for that. And then he's like, well, how can you talk about these things and you've never seen them? It's a basic question. It's just easy, something that you can counter. But when you aren't really living in that lifestyle and that truth, that's what happens. You come back with that nonsense. Yeah, I'm here for Boston slander, Marissa. Yeah, she went from doing a master's at University of Phoenix to going to Argosy University. Yeah, we all know you can go to University of Phoenix. I could be right now studying at University of Phoenix right now while I'm doing this. Argosy gone. Right? Again, accreditation was the critical thing. Gone. So if you cared about your mental health, you would be able to look and do that. See, this is in real time. Yeah. So in reality, I stress this because accreditation matters, where you went to school, licensing matters, and we'll get to more of that later on. Today, right? Today is about you guys, right? Subscriber Sundays. This is how we're going to do it from now on. So for you guys, it's the entertainment, it's the lights and the pageantry. We want to have fun. We want to chill. We want to stand. We want to lay back, grab some wine, grab a drink if you're not into wine or you pretend to know about wine, some popcorn, and relax and hit the chat, right? If you're new here, subscribe, hit the like button. If you feel so motivated, you can donate. There's multiple ways you can do that. That one being right down there in the right below on the screen. Then super chats, all that, right? But the conversation, the back and forth, that's the greatest thing. If we can just get more activity on the lives, on the chat, the algorithm can come and look and wink our way once again and say, hey, you're doing something fun over there. Let me push it out to more people, right? Either way, we're here, we're going to do the work. We're here for the long haul. But this is for the subscribers, right? For the pure love of the game, right? So for those of you new here, we got Love and Money. We got Crashing Out. We got Agree, Disagree. And then let's talk about it. We're going to circle right back to our dear old Cheyenne Bryant. But anytime that you guys have something you want to talk about or something pressing, we can divert, right? Again, this is for you guys. So we can have some fun. We can talk, all that. Did she graduate from Argosy? Yeah. Yeah, she graduated. Yeah, no, I think she has a doctorate. The thing is, once you graduate and you have a degree from an institution, right, that grants you the ability to practice in the clinician field. One, the school she went to did not have the gold standard for the accreditation. And when I say gold standard, it's just the gold standard. There's no silver, there's no bronze. So if you graduate from Columbia University with the same type of degree she had, you've got an APA accredited. You can work at any hospital, any VA, anywhere. You can go and practice for yourself, and they'll check and look at your license and say, okay, when you apply for this licensure, where'd you go to school? Oh, it's accredited. You're good. When you're not, when you're accreditation only, is mainly accredited by institutions, universities overseas. We all know there's a lower threshold to achieve a lot of these things overseas. Whenever you talk to some people and they say, oh, I've got 3, 4, 5 different high graduate degrees. Oh, where'd you get it? Oh, somewhere in South America. Word? Right? When you come, just like when immigrants come over here with a degree somewhere else, you can still be proficient, but you still have to undergo something called reciprocity. You have to test and show that I have this level of skill and knowledge to be granted the ability to work here. The United States is gross like that. Hey, you went there? No, we don't really rock with that. Unless we already have established relationships with these places, Oxford, Cambridge, right? Oh, we tip the hat, we bend the knee, we understand. Oh, that's a place of learning. Just the same when they send people over here. You have people all across the world going to school here in America, Columbia, Harvard, Yale. There's a reason. As much as you may not like how the United States moves, those degrees mean something. Their connections, the licensure, they all mean something. When you go to Argosy, when you go to Phoenix, and you can do these things online, which traditionally means you need to actually be in place, talking to people, going through an internship where you can actually put boots on the ground, not overseas, but boots on the ground in a place of learning, in a clinic. The problem is, I'm your therapist, and you're sitting across from me. I'm like, yo, Blair, I use you for this. I'm like, yo, Blair, I know you wilded out last week. Yeah, manic depression, all this, schizophrenia, all the nice things. Hey, you mind if this person sits in on our session? You're going to look at me like, word? No. No. This person needs their internship hours, though. And you're like, I don't give a shit about that. I'm telling you some private things. It took me the world of effort to open up to you. And you just want to come here and think, yo, whatever, it's all good. No. So getting your internship, getting your hours is a struggle. If my brother's on it, he can tell you exactly what that is. You have it in with someone that can get you internship and get you hours, golden. You're about to save yourself time. I mean, time, right? Right. We're gonna get into that. Right? Yeah, you can get a loan to 100,000 interest rates. Whatever else is amazing. Yeah, listen. One of the reasons why she was saying, right, that it's better. I don't need a licensure because these people billing, and these people just pay out of pocket. What it just means that you got popular enough where these people can afford to pay whatever you say your rate is and charge them, because insurance is not going to do that. You can no longer charge these people insurance. The mistake you're making, you're again trying to fool the rest of the world and continue to think that they're idiots, that they're dumb, that they're silly. Yeah, I'm not mad if someone wants to come out their pocket and not do the research about who's going to sit across them while she tells them you're low vibrational, you're scared of this and that. No, I just think it's a cheaper way for you to probably get the help you need, or you just kind of want to be in the same room with her, or you want to set up your coaching. There's easier ways you go about doing something like this rather than saying, oh, I just talked to a pretty older woman who's kind of insightful, who says the right things, or tells me the things I want to hear, but she was never really properly trained to treat my manners. If you want to just spend the money so you could be around a person, cool. If you want life coaching, come to me. I'll do it for half. Matter of fact, you won't even have to take a loan. Right? I'll put a lien on your house. Right? That's fair. It's about the same thing. I can charge whatever I want to charge. And at least in terms of, you want to see, does Easy know what he's talking about? You got a whole host of videos to go into. Okay, he does know what he's talking about. He is making sense there. You have no idea about Cheyenne Bryant outside of her being in the stage, talking to people on that Joe Budden thing when she immediately jumped to doing that shot about white privilege. Is that professional? For those that care about the sport of the game of psychology, it's not. She doesn't move like a psychologist, doesn't talk like one. It's questionable. That's the problem. That's the issue. She don't know if that's it. Couple steps. She's brilliant. The same thing with Sadia Khan, right? She faked a whole bunch of her degrees. It all came out when she was on the voicemail talking about, I could suck your man's D whenever I want. When you get a little glimpse behind the scenes, and you get to see how these people actually are. Social media gives you the ability to pick a lane. You're going to go the educated route. You got to go the educated right. Yeah. So they kind of still faking it. At this point, though, when the information's out there and you're still deciding, shit, I'm going to still show up, right? I'm going to still show up. That's on you. Here's a quick tip where you can know when a lot of this is BS. Any type of, like, and I've been to therapy, right? I'm a proponent of therapy. I think you should go. And I think sometimes a lot of times it's uncomfortable. If therapy is making you're leaving there all the time feeling great, feeling good, you're probably not going to the right therapist. That person's probably not versed enough to teach you or to help you or guide you. Therapy for sometimes should be abrasive. It should help you try to start confronting long-held beliefs that don't really serve you. Therapy should be a mirror where you're talking to someone that you've already surrendered a bit of authority to because of the profession, because of the degrees behind them. You say, hey, this person has talked to hundreds, thousands of people. They've got a body of experience that now they can work with me on. Because the truth behind all this is that we're all not very that different. There's only so many archetypes that humans fall under. There's going to be a way to sit here and say, peg you. Like, all right, that's where you are. That's where you are. That's where you are. You just don't get to come up there and be like, I'm wholly unique. Yeah, but you did the same thing 100 other wholly unique people doing. The same issues they had with their father, the same issues they had with their spouse. Yeah, you kind of walk in the same path. You live in the same society. There's a lot of similarities. But if you go there and all the time you just feel good leaving, that's because I just told you what you needed here. The problem is always external. Or the problem is you didn't realize you were super dope. I could be a clinician tomorrow if that was the standard. Hey, no, you're better than you thought you were. I'll just give you the formula for any new Disney Marvel series. Ah, man, you were her all the time. The rest of the world just had to catch up and realize that. But look, we're going to get to that in at the last segment where we talk about it. Right now, we got Love and Money crashing out. Agree or disagree. And again, if you are new here, subscribe to the channel, like the stream, all that good stuff, right? All that critically important stuff. But we got some show. I hope you guys are entertained. Hope you guys have some fun. And again, we can always jump in and out. But for now, we'll get this live stream started. Oh, damn. Over the phone's being told I'm low vibrational. Yeah, no, it's okay. Why wouldn't you want to go into extreme amounts of debt so you can see me and I can tell you all about yourself, all about where you're lacking as a man, all your failings. Again, listen, I can do this for you. We can set up a whole Thursday therapy, Tuesday therapy if you want. Why just come on and berate you? Right? I just berate you. You know, before that, you're just going to have to, I'm thinking what, $750 an hour? $750 an hour, $500 deposit. And yeah, I'll just talk 3 hours. I give you 3 hours. I give you 2 free hours. I'll just go in and tell you all the failings about you as a man. How you don't make enough money, right? How you're low vibrational, right? How your spirit isn't cleansed, how your chakra isn't, I can do that, right? No, there's a market for that, but there's usually like a sexual aspect of that. And you know, I'm not, right? That's OnlyFans. We have to switch platforms for that. But hey, like I said, if you guys are into that, I'm sure we can find something that works. But in terms of kinks, in terms of things that people are into, I'm always careful in telling you guys, be careful of the kinks that you activate, because that's who you're going to be known as. You're going to be insert kink guy, right? That's how you get off. Now you need something like that. And there's all sorts of things you can get into. And we're going to talk about one of those shortly.
Hi, I'm Caroline V, also known as Busty Granny. I'm 73 and I'm an escort. I was a Christian for 40 years, but after 40 years of none of their prayers, or none of my prayers, let alone theirs, being answered, I got to the point and I thought, you know what? I don't even know if there is a God.
So you did have sex before you joined the church?
When I was 17, I met guys, but the sex wasn't good. But actually, in all the churches I have been in, which are a few over the years in different places, it was no sex outside of marriage. That was why I hadn't had any sex for 40 years. But I had been chatting to a guy from work who was a 27-year-old rugby player. I was 57 at the time, so we just did friendly banter on the phone. He invited me over to his place because he said he'd got a thing about cougars. I didn't even know the name at that point, so I didn't go, but I had.
Real quick question. Is there an age cutoff for cougars, or that's just older women? I'm not certain, right? I'm not really certain, but listen, which one of you guys in the chat signing up for this? I know sometimes when you're having your alone time and they're like grannies in your area, I've never clicked that. If you have, I'm cool. Again, we're not kink shaming. We're judging a little inside, but we're not kink shaming. If this is your thing and you keeping Busty Granny in business, then it is what it is, and more power to you. I hope you find all the happiness that you are searching for in this endeavor. That being said, let's let her enlighten us a little bit more how she got into this profession.
Been getting emails from a dating sex site. So I thought, well, if a 27-year-old rugby player thinks I'm sexy, then let's go and have a look. So I looked and I joined, and guys of all ages were contacting me, including 18-year-olds. And they were going, no, babe, age is just a number. Yeah, but a very important one. But I met a guy there who was nearer my age. I think he was just a few years younger. He was local to me, so went for a drink, got on really well, had a good laugh in the pub. A week later, I think it was, we went for a meal. And then he was away in Canada, and when we were messaging, he said, would you come to a hotel with me? So I thought, yeah. I knew him quite well by then. He went down on me, which had never happened before. He got me to the point where I enjoyed sex. And there was one particular guy who came round to see me. And when he left, he said, I've been going to a club for the last few months. You should join me. I thought, okay. And it was a swingers club, which of course I had never heard of. I gave a couple and I got a couple of massages, I think. And so I was more an observer. I was sitting there thinking, not quite sure how much I want to join in this. A few weeks later, we went back. You could have people watching you through mirrors, and they could knock on the door and say, would you mind if I joined you? And whoever I was with would always let me decide. Some of the guys that I was meeting were going, you should do escorting. And at the time, I needed money. I met two guys. One of them had met his girlfriend doing it, which I wasn't expecting. The other one had met his wife doing it, and he then carried on taking her to see her clients and take her home again. There's one guy who is my absolute favourite. Delightful, charming, gorgeous, yummy boy. And he's single. He's only 46, bless him. And that is the best time ever. He's really sweet. He's absolutely delightful. He's very sexy. He loves snogging, and I love snogging. That turns me on.
What's snogging? Could someone look that up for me real quick? Make sure you're not in incognito mode, right? Let us all know what type of person you are. Here's the thing, right? Why do I not I'm not repulsed for her. Like, I'm happy for her, right? It's like a granny, like, yo, I'm happy you found your swag and you got to experience all the types of things, right? I'm happy for her. I wish her the best. This wasn't as repulsive as I initially thought it might be, but again, it's not my thing. It's not for me. If it's for anyone in the chat, congratulations. But I'm happy for her, right? Yeah. It's just too good. It fits too perfectly. I'm not, again, we're not judging, right? We're not judging. Sounds like, okay, if she likes snogging and snogging is cuddling, I really enjoy cuddling. I maybe it's better as you age, or it's better with an age partner. Yeah, I'm just not sure. So yeah, right. Listen, times are hard. And I know they do have a service where you can pay someone to come take naps with you and cuddle with you. I guess a legit service. I mean, you don't even have to have an accredited degree to do something like that. So it's the world is wide, the world is vast, and all your kinks are available at a moment's notice. So congratulations. Right? You can do everything you want. But there's a point in time when we can't really feel sorry for you anymore, where you're really having a good time, where life is just too good for you, even when it may seem sort of just awful, sort of terrible for you. Like they say, my steak is too juicy, my lobster is too buttery, right? You can't really complain about some of these things.
She wanted to disfigure my cock.
Yeah.
She thought she was going to disarm my dick so it wouldn't work no more. Because I told you, dude, she would come in the house, I'd come home, she'd weigh my balls.
I've never heard that before.
She'd weigh my balls, she'd sniff my dick, she'd make me her every day before I went to work.
Kind of like a chore there.
Yeah,
Sound
no,
like
it wasn't. It was great.
Yeah, no.
She's those balls better be full when you get home tonight, motherfucker. Swear to Christ, bro. Are you
I'm
kidding?
surprised she didn't make you ejaculate in something and measure it to make sure it wasn't short or something.
No, dude, it was her, dude. She wanted that. She wanted that nut in her, bro. She wanted it on her, in her. Didn't matter, bro. She was a machine when it came down to and so was I. You know, so we were good and bad for each other at the same time.
So sometimes, you see what God does for others, right? You just see it and you just think, yeah, wouldn't that be something, right? Wouldn't that be something, right? And the rest of us are just, oh no, oh no. We had sex so much and I wanted to have the sex. Oh no. It's the worst thing I've ever heard. It's the worst thing we've ever shown on this channel. It's just awful. It's just goddamn awful. Right? Yeah. I hope it finds me post haste. Hey, where you going? I'm just gonna do a live. Weigh them. Jesus. Again, that type of behavior, again, does not need an accredited degree. That is something that you can do at any given time. But, sometimes it works, right? It works when you both are together and you guys are freaky, right? It's great. It's phenomenal. Just like Granny. The freakiness is out there. It's open. We're going to swinger clubs. What was the term for cuddling? Snogging, right? Someone put that in chat. You might want to pin that to the chat. Well, no, don't pin that to chat, just in case the YouTube algorithm is like, no, cut it, don't do that, don't show that. But it's cool when it actually works, when you guys are on the same page. When you're not, then no, right? Then sometimes you would want to go to a clinician, a therapist to talk about this. But some other people, that's not what they do. Well, that's not what they do. They find other ways.
Do you wish you would have dated more men before getting married to Josh?
Yes.
True.
While you were dating your wife, did you ever cheat on her?
Yes.
He said that straight face too. Like, listen, we talked about this, right? This isn't a secret, right? This isn't a secret. I told you about this, right? Cold. Josh is cold.
True.
He's still holding her hand. He's like, no, I'm good. This don't faze me at all, right?
Have you ever lied to Josh about the number of men that you have had sexual relations with?
Tapped out.
Why did you hit the button, Brandon?
I just feel like that's a little personal for television, and her parents are here.
Brandon's on that list. I put money down, right? I put money down. Brandon's on that list. It's definitely our favorite show. I was so excited about putting this one together when I saw this in there. Yes, the show is diabolical, but oh my God. I think you all like a little cheese man like I do. So again, we're here to enjoy, right? Subscriber Sundays.
That's a little much, I think.
Since you've been married, have you done anything that would make Sundral not trust you?
Yes.
True.
You think that's like, you know, hey, we were supposed to watch this TV show together, this Netflix show together. We were supposed to watch The Boys together, and I watched 3 episodes already. Or you think it's probably something a little more serious? It's probably something a little more serious. You know, one can dream.
Would you trust Josh to be alone with your sister Nikita?
Yes. True.
Have you ever...
Josh is like, that's a mistake. That's a mistake. You shouldn't trust me with your sister. That's a mistake. Listen, real quick. You know how awful it has to be for you to realize you bagged the wrong sister? And this is just guys talking. All the ladies in the chat, just, you know, quiet for a second. Imagine that. This is the one you've been after, and then you meet the sister older, right? Or younger, slightly younger, still legal. Don't anyone get upset. And you're just like, damn, I backed the wrong horse. Not maybe, let's just keep it, let's not sexual. Just like you've got a better vibe with the sister. What are you supposed to do? Just every time you go over for dinner and then she's winking at you and you guys are laughing because you guys are into the same things, and then there goes your stuffy girlfriend just looking upset. Even if you break up, how do you advance? How do you promote? How do you make that work? You think Josh knows? Yeah, Josh probably has a clue how to make that happen. We should ask Josh.
Had a sexual fantasy about your wife's sister Nikita?
Yes.
True.
So, Nikita, how do you feel? Flattered?
I don't know.
Are you surprised by that answer?
Yeah.
Have you, by any chance, had a similar sort of fantasy about Josh?
Did you say no?
Right now?
No.
If you'd like to answer that question under a polygraph, it'd be worth $5,000 to you.
Yeah.
Okay, that's diabolical. Okay, that is it. That's diabolical. Hey, listen. You answer some polygraph, you make some quick money. That guy's a goddamn pimp. That guy's a goddamn pimp. Jesus. That's cold.
I'll answer it.
You'll answer it?
Yeah.
This is for $5,000. Have you ever had a sexual fantasy about your brother-in-law, Josh? Now, earlier you said no, but now that you've taken your polygraph, what answer would you like to give?
Yes.
True.
You're a few years older than Sundral. Jess.
All right. All right. Listen, like I said before, like I told you guys before about these a lot of these clips that I find, I want to have a genuine experience with you guys. Right? It's like when I wrote a book, shameless plug. When I wrote a book, one of the things that I'm robbed of is the thrill of reading it. Right? When I read the book, it's surreal sometimes because I'm like, oh, I wrote that. I put those words together. Those are dope words. There's a dope paragraph. I did that. I love that. But I'm robbed of the genuine experience of not knowing what comes next. So when I create this show, I don't watch all the videos all the way. I just like, okay, it's our favorite game show. Of course I got a slot for it. Move stuff around, put that in. I didn't know it was going to go like this. This is the one where, yeah, my steak is too juicy. My steak is too goddamn juicy.
Wild days in your youth?
Yeah, sure.
Have you ever thought you might have a child that no one has told you about? How do you feel, Sundral?
Okay, I'm shocked.
You're
100%. I would have never even have a dreamed of that. I don't want to go on. I don't want to go any farther.
Yeah, we're gonna stop.
You gonna stop?
We're gonna stop.
I applaud that decision.
I applaud that decision. Yo. Yeah, I applaud that decision. Yes, thank you, Sharaj, but supposed to book. Yeah, I applaud that decision. That's wild. This has been one of the best episodes. that we've watched together. And I'm glad that we got to experience this together, because this is insane. This is legitimately insane. That what do they say? You can't make this up. And I wish they highlighted sometimes the dysfunction that you see with other races, because this is it. But you know, in terms of dysfunction, right? And thankfully, I did not plan it this way, but we're keeping it white, right? We're keeping it white. Blair, I'm gonna bring you up to the stage once again, right? This is my guy. Right? We got a lot of history together, right? So the history we have together is of our coming of age story, not when we were like young, before puberty. No, we met each other in our 20s, early 20s. So we got the struggle of trying to date, not each other, right? Despite the gay accusations that we'll never beat. But in trying to talk to women and realizing that sometimes it's not your season, right? It's not your season. There's nothing you can do. Right? There's no struggle. There's nothing you could change. You're just stuck, right? They're not into you. You're not a bad boy, right? You don't got the fast car. You don't got all this, right? You don't any of that. You're just there. We're just there working, right? Working our ass off, right? So one of the things we realized and we saw, right? We're both observable people. We like sitting there and watching, people watching. It was part of the job. We were in the airport. We love doing that. But watching some of our coworkers and watching some of these relationships sort of form, and you say, wait, wasn't that person with this person? Oh, this person came in dirty macked. For those of you that don't know what dirty macking is, it's when you downplay your guy in front of a woman, make him seem less important. You play him just to get her attention, to snipe her attention, to curve it from him to you. Dirty macking. Nah, Blair's not that tall. Actually, Blair, his breast stinks all the time. He's got halitosis son. I don't know. Oh, what? Yeah, you guys got a date on Friday? Probably going somewhere cheap. You don't got a car, right? Right? You'll say anything. You throw anything out there. You dirty man. So, for our example, I come in, they're together, and I snipe. I steal his shorty. We understood something fundamental. You lose them the way you stole them. That's the game. When you play that dirty game, karma does not take years to find you. It's got you on a short list, and it will address you very, very quickly. So, with that being said, right, you lose them the way you stole them. That's critical for this story. So, if you're thinking about dirty macking, listen, we're not people here that we're insensitive to say that miscarriages are just like, oh, it's fine. It's a good thing. It's a traumatizing thing, right? It's an awful thing for you to experience, to go through, especially as you get further and further to term. We don't wish that on people. But damn, if it doesn't seem like, I don't. I'm trying to tell you, like, yo, dog, she's still married. Yo, you stole her from this. They were having some rocky stuff. Instead of encouraging, you say, I just need that. You say, yo, take them 2 kids. I got it. Right? I'm the man. I'll take care of it. Right? Don't even worry about it, shorty. I can just screw everything up. When? What part of it? When you sniped that other dude and you said, come here, borrow money from my mom, I'll create this life for you. I'm all for you doing those things. Right? As a man, you want to do that. I think you find yourself aligned, right, with the ancestors, like when eating the heart-shaped herb, and you wake up in the ancestral plane and you're seeing your father, your grandfather, right? Or the avatar state. You've seen all your past lives. You're aligned. It feels good. I'm helping her. I'm making her life better. When you do these things, you just have to kind of pick the right people. You stole someone who was stealable, and you were just like, that's fine. Let me build something real. Let me build something tangible. What do you think he did? The guy you robbed, the first guy. What do you think he tried to do? Probably something similar, right? Except those were his kids. And then you had those kids, and then, better deal showed up. So we don't want to make light of his pain, but we also wanted to acknowledge that, sometimes you made your bed and you got to lie in it for quite a while. But then, like we saw at the end of Doctor Strange, the bill comes due. Right? Not that last part. That was good. That was good. You got to sit in this, right? You got to sit in this. And to the aforementioned part about Dirty Mac and about stealing like that, you tend to see that in guys that don't really have much to them. They don't really have a lot to give, to offer. So they're not out there, if we keep it on the, colloquial terms of you out there hunting. You don't have that ability to go out there and do the thing. So you take what's around you. Again, showing a little bit more of my of our what? Hold on. Belong to someone else. Your stream may be temporarily blocked. Yeah. Oh. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Those clips. They hate those using those clips. They might actually, end up kicking those. But someone remind me for the future not to use his clips because they love sniping those. They love sniping those. So we're just going to continue. And hopefully later on we're going to have to probably edit out that part of it. But anyway, so the whole thing is when you out here sniping, that usually means that you don't have a lot to yourself, a lot to your name, a lot to your own game. So what do? You come there, you kind of steal. You kind of do this, right? Yeah, it's a dirty back attack. When you move like that, that's usually what ends up happening. You end up in that space. You end up, hey, you were fine with it when you were the recipient of it, when it worked for you, when it helped you out, but now it doesn't. Now it's not so good. Now it's not so dope. Now it kind of sucks for you. Kind of sucks for you. And we feel it. We feel you. But seeing all that and listening to all that hurt that you have, I get it. I understand it. We can empathize. But you have to realize when you move like that, that's usually, and this is just man talk. This is what we've all kind of experienced in our life. You steal someone like that, then they're stealable. That if they're stealable one time, they're also going to be stealable again. So you have to always move with that sort of attitude, with that sort of belief. Happen one time, it can happen again. So just be very cognizant. If that's how you're going to move, that's what you're going to do, that you're probably going to end up playing that game. You're probably going to end up crashing out.
I got road rage, been burning rubber so reckless. I'm a crash out. I got road rage, I've been burning rubber so reckless. I'm a crash out. I got road rage, I've been burning rubber so reckless. I'm a crash out. I got road rage, I've been burning rubber so reckless. I'm a crash out. Got 100K on my wrist and my...
All right, here we go to one of our favorite ones, crashing out. We love to talk about crashing out. It's probably one of our favorite things outside of our show. And it's jump between segments, right? It's jump between segments. Because I don't know how you go out after that, not crashing out, and equally between both the husband and wife, because husband and wife and then the sister. I think, all right, if I'm Josh, I'm making a play for the sister. You thinking about it? I've been thinking about it. We might also, my marriage is over to your sister, but I still want to stay in the family. I love this family. And I may be in love with you. But with that being understood, we know that love and relationships, they get testy, right? They get testy to the point where people crash out in often violent ways. And for a lot of us that grew up under the same sun, the same cohort, right? Again, guys, like, subscribe, all that great YouTube stuff, right? Consider donating if you like the stream. Stuff like that really motivates me to kind of keep in that, being that creative lane. But for all of us that grew up with Looney Tunes, right? There was a couple of things that we learned from Looney Tunes, right? It's that if you paint a tunnel on a wall, that it can work one time, at least for the Roadrunner. You run right through it. Sometimes the train will come out of it. But for Coyote, it doesn't work. As long as you realize that you ran off a cliff, but you're not cognizant of it, you can walk on the air. And that dynamite was a readily available supply. Although I've been around dynamite in a very controlled sense, where it was used as a demonstration, and they would completely say, "Don't use this." To the point where we understand that every 4th of July in the Black community, right? Right, yeah. We understand that it's always treacherous for Black people to play with firecrackers. We understand that there's a chance that you're going to wake up and one of your favorite defensive linemen is going to blow up part of his hand and ruin the Giants going forward. He's going to have a claw. You're like, what the hell? Like, how could you, right? Black people, we understand. Fireworks are to be enjoyed from a distance. And I get it. I love fire. It's fun. I like playing with it. I like exploding things. Boom, boom, boom. It's intoxicating. But, and it's probably Looney Tunes' fault because we all grew up around the dynamite thinking this is what it's supposed to be. Why would I bring it up? I know, right? It hurt. Seeing all that nonsense, right? Him playing with that. We were on a generational run with that lineup that we had. It was incredible. It was for once, New York team was on the map. For once, right? And not talking about hockey or nothing. I'm talking about the Rangers. I'm talking about we were on the map. We were unstoppable. We were running over people, running over them. We robbed Brady of a perfect season. We did that. And then boom, blow your hand up. Why? Someone get that clip. Why? Right? But in terms of relationships, in terms of crashing out, yeah, dynamite was a thing that we thought was readily supply. But if I ask anyone in the chat right now, do you know where to get dynamite? You're gonna be like, I have no clue. And if you do have a clue, someone look at that person sideways. Why do you know where to get dynamite? I get M80s and stuff like that. Yeah, probably. I would. My first guess would be go down to Tijuana, right? Go overseas somewhere to get your hands on some of this stuff. That's probably PA. Jesus, right? Staying retired. Yeah, he retired with all that money. Come on, you big dummy. But listen, if you do know where to get dynamite, if you want to take M80s and pack them all take everything out and pack all explosives into one, please don't. And if you do somehow decide that is the move, make sure you just kind of keep it to yourself.
This Deer Park woman was convicted of throwing an explosive device in her boyfriend's bedroom while he was sleeping. Prosecutors say after an argument with her boyfriend, Kiona Waddell threw a burning stick of dynamite into his bedroom. Now, once he realized what it was, he tried to throw it outside the window, but before he could, it detonated in his hand. Police say his hand is gone. He was taken to NUMC where the remainder of his hand and part of his arm was amputated. Now Waddell faces 25 years in prison when she's sentenced in May.
Would it be fair if I said, give me your arm? Give me your arm. All right, let's ask the question, right? If you go to jail ASAP, yes. If you know where that stuff is, you're going to jail. Send him to jail. Listen, let's be real. Let's be fair. What the hell did you do to that woman? Because people are going to ask it, right? In the wider world, if people actually check the stream, that's going to be a question that's, well, what did you do to make her so upset that she assaulted you, right, with an explosive weapon? What type of love and what type of a relationship did you guys have that was like, yeah, man, this is what it is. Yeah. Listen, Deer Park, New York. So yeah, maybe you went to PA to get that. Maybe you worked to get that. You worked to go find that and put that together and said, damn, that's very Wile E. Coyote. I'm going to open up the window, chuck it in, or maybe I opened up the door, threw it in there, shut the door, and then you looking at it and say, why is that thing going? And then you try to now, instead of ducking for cover, you're like, oh, yeah, nah, the same things I would do in the movies. When they throw a grenade, I'm just going to grab it and throw it back. I'm quick like that. I've practiced that. I've got the movement down, right? I got the movement down. Yeah, I feel bad for laughing. Right? But when she described it like, yeah, I tried what was left of the arm. Oh my God. Like, again, what do you do? Right? Because even us in generations, right? We always talk about, we hope it's the city that did it. So you can sue the city, and at least maybe you're missing a lot of your arm, but you paid. You paid. If this was like 100 years in the future, you can get an arm like Cable, right? Jean Grey, the clone of Jean Grey, Madeline Pryor, and Cyclops, if you can get an arm like that, I say, yeah, worthy. Absolutely. That's fine. That's fine. Absolutely. I'm with that. 110%. But as it's just 2026, we don't really have an answer for that. We got the weird bionic thing that some with articulation that moves like that. It's yeah. How do you address that outside of? There's nothing you can do. She won that exchange. There's nothing you do. There's absolutely nothing. I've got no words, no advice, no. You know what you do? You know. Okay, I got it. You need Cheyenne Bryant. You need Cheyenne Bryant to show you what you're supposed to be doing. Right? You need Cheyenne Bryant to show you the way. How are you supposed to deal with that? Because right now, that was a very low vibrational thing to do, even though the molecules in that explosive vibrated very, very rapidly. It was still a low vibrational thing for you to do. And you should be ashamed of yourself. That's not that's not how you're supposed to do it. Yo, it's terrible. But again, Subscriber Sundays. This is guys, right? We here to have a little bit of laughs, a little fun. We just know, listen, when this is for the fellas, when you do see that hissing, right? You see that, duck and cover. If you are, Steve Rogers, you jump on that thing, right? You know that. That's, if you're Iron Man, you do something else. But that exchange I'm talking about, Original Adventures. But if there's a kid in the room with you, there's a toddler, right? Or there's a baby in the crib, yeah, you jump on that thing, right? You let your guts get messed up. You don't grab it because, right? And again, we're talking to guys here, right? We're talking to guys here. Yeah, that's right. Why are you making me do that? We know, right? We know as guys, we know if we're going to throw a grenade, right? We've all pictured ourselves in the movies, right? We've all pictured ourselves in those movies. Before you throw that grenade, you take the pin out and you taking out some of that time, right? You like, all right, then throw it. Because I don't want you being clever. Oh, I didn't know he played baseball in high school, right? We're overseas fighting the Germans. Oh, he played baseball in high school. He caught it and threw it back. I gave him enough time, so I'm going to hold it a little bit. I'm going to hope. Then I'm going to throw it, right? So by the time it lands where it's supposed to, boom. So I'm thinking you do the same thing with the dynamite. That's what I would do. If I was at that point, I'm thinking, then I throw it. Boom. So you thinking, oh, I'll just grab it, chuck it back. Don't do that. All right? Duck and cover. I'm assuming in my head, for whatever reason, and it could be completely wrong, that he was in the bedroom chilling, right? Sleeping. Oh, what's that? And she cursed at him, and slammed the door or something. She ducked for cover, and then you got blown up. He said, oh, what is that? You try to throw it probably out a window. If this was a movie, you would try to chuck it out the window. It would have hit the window's frame and bounced back in. And, but sounds like you grabbed it and it's just boom. You probably just been better served jumping somewhere, laying with your feet, right? This is a pro tip, right? This is why you guys showed up today, right? I'm gonna give you some tips. You're supposed to put your feet towards the explosion. So when the shrapnel and everything else blows that way, there's less of important stuff for it to damage. I'd rather lose a toe that you'll never see, right? Than an arm that you're always going to be looking at me and saying, yo, what happened, man? What happened? I feel so sorry for you. Yeah. Listen, for those people that know me in real life, I like to get down. I like to tell stories like this and like to have fun with it. But yeah, again, Subscriber Sundays. It's for you guys. It's just I just know personally, right? Once your mind has to go there first. You gotta be right there, ready to go. Oh shit, boom. It just happened. I practiced. I've remembered this. I've trained for this mentally. You're not going to catch me with that. It'll stick a dynamite, you throw it in my place, and I'm going to sit there and grab it. No, I'm going to throw stuff in the way. I'm going to duck and cover. I'm going to jump over a couch. Hopefully there's a couch available. And then, when the explosion goes off, and then, I think it's fair to say, I may try to kill you. Right? This is attempted murder, is it not? Is it not? Is it not? Is it not? Someone let me know, because that's attempted murder. Right? I didn't think I was going to maim him. I tried to kill you. Like, that's not okay. Maybe right then and there I don't do something, but I'm definitely getting my hands on explosives. I'm blowing up more than just your life. I'm everywhere you go, blow it up, right? And small explosives, like you go to shower, boom, shower head blows up. Ah, no, inconvenience, explode. Yeah, you open your fridge, milk explodes, boom, right? Your soda, I shook everything up, everything up. That's your life now. You're scared. You on the run. Your shoelaces. Why is this singed? Because I try to blow that up too. I try to blow it up. This is unconceivable. Just kill the man. But this is a personal fear of mine. This is a personal fear of mine of being amputated, having part of my legs or my arms or something. It's just I just can't. Until we have bionics like they have in Marvel, I can't with it. If I don't, not like DC, because I don't want to be like Cyborg. I want to be cool, right? I think we all can agree right here, right? Yeah, no, she should be on a watch list. Even when she's in prison, 25 years. No, don't say you face 25 years and you give her 10. Because this is New York, right? They're a little light on crime right now. No. You understand the day that you get out of prison, you're going to get a present. Like, again, and on the outside is going to say Acme, right? If you know, you know. And when you open it, there's going to be a timer old-fashioned clock. And on the back is going to be strapped with 2 sticks of dynamite. I don't have a choice. I've got something to live for. I don't have a choice. I got to get you like this. And the part we're not talking about, Blair, right? I got to show up. I got to talk to you. And you be like, what happened to your arm? I got to tell you the story. How I woke up to hissing and I didn't know what to do. You can fix her. We could do a whole segment about mug shouties and some of those. I can fix it. Not this one. But, I mean, once you start with the dynamite, I don't know about fixing. And listen, I want to be real with you for a second. Just, do you want to fix this one?
Deer Park woman was convicted of throwing an
that look, that's intense, brother. That's intense. Oh, I apologize. I was not familiar with your game. My man's built different. All right, you got it. All right, you got it. That's on you. We didn't know, right? I will update the files and references later. Let it be known, to this day, we do not try to snake my man Muhammad right here. We don't try to do that because he knows what's up, right? He knows what's up. But if you wanna play that game, right? We've got more people crashing out. We've got more examples of Muhammad. This one next is specifically for you. If you just like, you can save her. I got someone you should be able to save. I got someone you should be willing to save, right?
You is trade daddy, so don't stand there acting brand new. Let's get on it, Pop. I ain't finna play with you, you hear me?
Man, I ain't saying nothing, but I ain't saying there ain't a possibility I'm the father, but people been talking. I'm just saying what I heard.
You letting people run your mouth for you now? Let me make this plain. There were only 2 people in that room the night this baby got here, and you were one of them. You don't get to hide behind rumors. You don't get to...
Campbell, what have people been saying?
Yeah, Honor, they out here saying my homeboy, Mapaka, could be the daddy. I just want to be sure. That's all I'm asking. I need to know for real. So...
dragging my name, that's on you. Me and Pocket don't even go down like that. You treat me like I'm some neighborhood hoe. No, because you are trifling. That doesn't mean that I am. But I'm not letting my...
Campbell, according to the test from DNA Diagnostic, you are not the father.
No way. I thought... No.
Lord.
I
can't. The guy in the background. Oh my God. Right? For those of you, first of all, Muhammad, this is for you. You can save this one, right? This is when you want to look for it. You can save this. This is all you, baby, right? This one's all you. Congratulations, right? You can save this one, and you could play stepdaddy. For those of you that, again, I'm talking to my cohort. I'm talking to my people in my generation that get the Acme reference, right? They get that. For those of you that watched season 1, season 2, The Boondocks, right? Phenomenal. Season 1, season 2, phenomenal. Season 3 gets iffy, right? All right, we're just talking about season 1, season 2. One of the things I love about that show is the background, is the people in the background, the comments flying in the background. This is no difference. Just, and again, black people are so good for that. So good for like, oh my God. When you were strong and wrong, this is the best label for being strong and wrong I've ever seen. This is what it is. When you cannot be talked down, you cannot be talked off the ledge. You just like, no, this is what it is. Right? This is what it is. Yeah. She came, right. Yo, you, until you do right, you never gonna be. She came right there. Like she knew it. And kudos to her. She talked like there was never a possibility. And the guy's name is Pocket. I've never heard that as like a slang name as Pocket, but the world is vast, right? Some of the inner cities and slums are just as vast. Some of the ghetto, the projects are just as vast. Some of these people have incredible street names. I didn't have a street name growing up. I had named Too Tall and Chosen. It seemed even when I was younger that I was well gifted and did things really well. Things kind of fell in place for me. So Chosen, and then yes, I was tall. That was it. Right? It had no other meaning past that. Those beautiful words to the English words, you are not the father. Yeah, and he cried, right? I would have, that would have been the Maury doing the little dance. But these are some things that like we were saying earlier. There's some things that men intrinsically understand. And Blair, I feel like I've been picking you and calling you to the front again and again and again. But it's my guy. We've had the relations for such a long time, and not the relations. Don't get there. But we understand sometimes there's just things guys do. Right? Just guys speak. So whenever we see women come into the guy spaces and saying that men, you're not really friends. You don't really friend. You don't know his star sign. You don't really care about him. What is his middle name? I saw this clip the other day. Where this woman was saying, "Oh, you don't really know your friends because you don't know X, Y, and Z about them. Then it's not really a real friendship." And I was like, "How do you get to come and tell men how they're supposed to be friends? How it works for them?" Right? You don't get to say that. They were like, "Oh, ask a man right now, what's his best friend's middle name?" I was like, "Oh, I know Blair's initials. It's Bam, right? Andrew, right? We got that. What's his birthday? 26th of August." And I said, "Oh, see, this is why we're not beating the allegations. This is why we're not beating the K allegation." I know the stuff about Blair, but that's not important what I know about Blair. Right? It's the experiences that we have. It's to be able to call upon each other at any time. Right? This man has drove multiple hours just to come and check on me. Just beautiful thing, beautiful friendship when you see guys, but it looks different from women, right? I'm not, yo, Blair, let's go to brunch. Let's drink mimosas, right? Let's get upset and throw it in people's faces. So it's different, right? It's not. Pocket was in that pocket. Yeah, it was in the hot pocket. Pocket was doing dirty, doing dirty grind. But again. One of the things we have to be careful of, we're making a lot of assumptions, right? We're making assumptions. You don't know that it's Pocket. We don't know for sure. It could be any number of other people. How many times have you seen shows where it turns out, I thought it was him, and then like Maury, you bring the next guy on, it's not him either. And he and the other guy, now they're high-fiving. Now they're playing Uno together. Now they're best friends. And we're all left like, oh. And she's, she does the maze run, right? The right, left, up, down, A, B, start, 99 lives. Right? Where she comes on and tests another guy, another Polly Pocket. Yeah. Another guy. You're right. Dre, you're right. The streets been talking. The streets be knowing. Especially in the first 48. They, Travaris, you know about that. Not that you're a snitch, but A&E work. You know what's happened there. Hey, I'm gonna give you a cigarette, some chicken wings, and you're gonna let us know it was Pocket the daddy. Yeah, he snakes his best friend. It's nasty work. But again, we digress. Right? We digress. Some things are just like they're supposed to be sacred for guys. That's why guy code is important. Guy code is critical. Thou shalt not snake your boy. That's probably up there in the first 3 commandments for guys, for guy code. You're not supposed to do that. Once you do that, you get excommunicated and you do not get the benefit of the doubt. If you're in a circle when you snaked your boy, then you're not really in the circle. You showed up to the same place we're at. We don't really rock with you. We don't really claim you. But sometimes one of the things, like we said, the way guys are versus the way women are. The way the guys are is different, right? It's different. Sometimes it's violent for no reason. You don't understand it. But it's not that it's hateful, right? Sometimes we just have a different way of communicating. It's the principle or sometimes the principalities of the thing and just how it is. So you just, if you're there witnessing it, in the movies all the time. All right. And I'll get specific. Zoe Saldana, right? You guys absolutely love her, right? You guys love her. Such a great actress. I'm not a fan, right? Because in a lot of movies that I saw her, concurrent movies, she's always just yelling for like the men to stop. Just stop. Just stop. Or like Spock, right? That was Star Trek. When Spock was beating it, ever-living dog-ish out of Khan. They're like, stop! And yes, it was good reason. They needed his blood. Granted, but all right, cool. Guardians of the Galaxy, right? The dance-off. Sitting there screaming, right? When they're all grabbing the Power Stones. Ah! She always yelling. Telling people stop. Sometimes you need the guys they can just wail on each other. Right? You just let them go.
My boyfriend keeps going back and ordering eggs and getting into fistfights with the same cook. It's almost a ritual at this point. My boyfriend orders runny eggs, the cook serves him some other version of eggs, and then they beat the crap out of each other. I quit going with him after the second fight, but he kept going by himself. They're like Peter and the Giant Chicken from Family Guy. It's the weirdest thing. They have physically fought like 6 or 7 times over this. I've tried to talk to him about it a few times, but he keeps saying it's a matter of principle. I told him to talk to the manager or something like that, but he just waves me off. Apparently that cook hasn't yet made him the correct runny eggs, but it's like he spends the week learning new ways of preparing eggs to piss my boyfriend off.
This is a critical relationship in a man's life. This is critical. This is how we are. This is a canon event. Right? It's not, Charles, it's not a kink. It's not a kink. This is just how sometimes men are. When you come here, what time it is. It's a staple, right? It's stability. Men need this in their lives. I need to know that when I turn the faucet, water comes out. Stability. You don't want to think about how many things, if you remove the stability of it, you get upset. Real simple. You go to turn on the light, it doesn't turn on. What first happens? Your first thing you do is, all right, let's now go through the motions. And you're hoping it's something simple before you start panicking, right? You need that thing that happens all the time. I know what time it is. He knows when I see it. He needs this. I need this. This is a stability. This keeps us locked in. It's a man thing, right? He's into it. What's for the eggs? Yeah, he wants him, right? This is what we say, guys, back me up in the chat. He wants him to acquiesce. He wants him to bend the knee and realize you're gonna make my ish the way you're supposed to make it. Period. And the guy's like, absolutely not. It's probably a Waffle House, to be honest. Probably a Waffle House. No, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna do shit my way. You're gonna like it. You're gonna deal with it. Nah. It's the principalities of the thing, right? That's how we are. He wants it, period. Right. Okay, now he's DL. All right, here we go. He's got to be DL, right? It's simple, right? Nah, this is how men are, right? It's man talk, right? You don't gotta like it, right? Here comes a shameless plug. Here comes a shameless segue. You don't gotta like it. We can agree to disagree. For the record, I hold no shame in my shameless transitions. Absolutely no shame in that. I think that was smooth. I think it's one of the smoothest you've ever seen in your life. And if you disagree with that, don't worry about it. So again, for those new here, again, you know the deal. Like the stream, subscribe to the channel, and get active in the chat. The chat like this is beautiful. This is exactly what we want. The algo sees it and says, oh, let me bestow you a minor blessing. And then it'll push it out to a little wider so more people can see, y'all are having fun over here. right? Like we did the chat, we did the live stream yesterday, and that went really well. It just got out to a good audience, and we had more serious conversations, right? It wasn't Subscriber Saturday. It was Solutions Saturday, whatever you want to call it. But it was a good chat where we had people, weirdly, a black dude saying what good at black women and a black woman upset at black men. And we not that we solved it, but we kind of smoothed it, said, this is how you kind of communicate with people. But that was yesterday. That was Saturday. Sunday for subscribers, right? We want to have fun with you guys. And the best way to have fun with you guys is for you guys to be in the chat so we can have some back and forth. Eventually, we can make this like a subscriber only thing, or if I can have a way of just having subscribers call in and then we can chat back and forth, we can make that happen. I think that would be really cool. But we want to be, right? And Blair, I'm beating up on you a lot today. We want to be like Instagram when it first came out, right? iPhone only, right? iPhone only. We didn't allow everyone else in. It was iPhone only. It was cool kids. Right? So we might do something like that just so we can make sure that people that we know have been here, right, or have contributed to the channel in the chat who will give them the back and forth, we can go here, we can talk. Because sometimes what we see, people won't even be subscribers. Well, I'll say it. They won't be subscribers to the channel. They'll throw a wild comment thinking that there's going to get some back and forth. And what I love, sometimes the other subscribers, they were like, yo, you how are you going to tell him what he should be doing? You're not even a day 1. A day 2, a day 30, a day 3,655. You haven't been around. So for those of you that actually get up in here and will talk in the comment section, this is what it's all about. We want to create this community. We want to understand we got to protect the brand, and then we want to, eventually, we want to sell out. Right? We want to sell out. The first sponsor that comes that says, "Here's a bunch of money to push some product," we're like, okay, right? But listen, let's go on the record real quick. Let's go on the record. If you see me suddenly pushing a product I've never talked about, and you guys that know me in real life, right? We're going to have conversations offline. I'm going to make it known I don't give a shit about this product, right? I'm going to make it known I don't give a shit about the product. But they're going to feed us, and then we're going to just upgrade equipment and all that other stuff. All that other cool stuff, right? Maybe buy new shoes. Ooh. If you see me promoting something over here, let's be real right here. For the people in here that are catching this right now, don't buy it. Don't buy it. Call me and I'll tell you, nah, man, I use the thing, but otherwise don't buy it. You guys know me. I'm not about that. I'm bougie and the things I like. We will take a sponsorship from like a cologne. That would be dope. But until we see that's, we're not gonna worry about that. That was unexpected yesterday. Second time you popped up and went, oh no, yeah. Listen, yesterday that was, we tried a different time. We tried a different strategy with tags, titles, all that. The greatest moderator on the channel, Travash, I could tell you, we just tried it. We got to try new things. And then what we find on this channel, right? When the YouTube algorithm comes and blesses us, when it comes through the universe, right? Like the Phoenix Force, finding Jean Grey, on its way to Jean Grey in the hospital, waiting. Then it pushes the algo comes and pushes the content to a wider audience. Most of the wider audience fuck with it, right? They're like, oh shit, we didn't know. So what we got to do on our part here is just show up, is continue to do the work, continue to push, continue to put out product. And then when we do push stuff out, don't be lazy with it, right? So that's why we try to come out here, sound effects. We try to do it big, not just like, hey, you like you found us yesterday. What happened if you found us and we were just kind of lazy? Just chilling. We wouldn't have anything to talk about. It wasn't polished to a degree. You would just be like, oh, keep swiping. But instead, you find a little community, find a little space. Like, oh shit, this is, I'm actually feeling this. The people that have really been here, that have been dedicated channel, people that I don't actually know, that you guys have found it. You guys have found it in the same way. Yo, I stumbled upon this and I mess with it. This is dope. I enjoy it. And then you guys contribute in the chat. You have things to say, things that are actual make sense. So it's not just, again, I've had streams with just me kind of just talking. Right? And Dre has told me, you got to get used to that. You got to get accustomed to that. Everyone here, right, with the absence, with the exception of a couple of people, have walked me off the F this YouTube thing. right? You guys walk me off the ledge and tell me, nah, this is what it is. Keep going. You got to do it. From the time when we're struggling to get our first 100 subscribers to the time we cross that threshold of 1,000 and then beyond. And everyone is over like, you got to keep going. You got to keep going. You got to keep going. And people that have found it, they're like, oh, this is dope. These things matter. These things mean the world to me. When you see that, especially when you donate a little bit, super chat, I'm like, When someone becomes a new member, I'm like, stuff like that makes it like, all right, worth it. So, right. So I don't phone it in on the editing. I don't phone it in and say, well, what can we do today? Are we not going to do that? We're not going to do a live stream because I'm just not feeling. No, put in effort. Put in effort. People might stumble upon it. They see it. They're like, yo, this is dope. This is dope. Right? In the YouTube streets. Yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely. Yo, share it, push it to the Discord server. This is how we grow. Because people don't know that we've got a lot of dopeness over here. It sounds good. Right? It sounds good. And every week we're trying to improve. Right? We're trying to make a little tweak, little adjustment. Okay, let me try this. I can't tell you if you can see the setup here, the amount of cameras I've got set up, where sometimes I try to toggle in between, over-engineer the thing. I want you to say Sundays, it's subscribers. Let me come and enjoy the show. I'm going to laugh, but we're also going to talk about something serious. We're going to have fun with it. We can joke. We can run the gamut. We can talk about serious subjects in a high intellectual way without yelling, screaming at people. And we can laugh and joke with Acme bombs and blowing people up and painting tunnels on, solid mountainside and running right through it. And then, we can also talk about all the times that Blair and I are not going to beat the allegations. Also, we're going to start, we're going to try to do a Mondays. That is tomorrow. We're going to talk about a specific, just, informational sort of thing, but in a way that's cool, right? Not in a way that's going to bore you, in a way that's going to be like, blah. But for us that are millennials, are getting up there, we need to be thinking critically about retirement, what that looks like for those who do have houses or those who hope to have houses. I am in the real estate game. I have a little on my little real estate portfolio. So I'm constantly trying to give advice to my friends, whether or not they want to hear it or not. A lot of it right now is telling them, yo, study the game, study the market, wait on the sidelines, stack your bread. But that's part of how I want to build something that gives back. But again, shameless reintegration, right? You can agree or disagree, but we're still going to be here. We're still going to do the thing. I should produce and host a podcast and never reach these numbers. It's in a 4K in building. Yeah, listen, I appreciate that, man. That's all we can do. And everyone that knows me, again, in real life, there's never going to be a number that I'm strictly satisfied with. We've had we hit 4K maybe like a week and a half ago, and usually it takes a while, and I start counting them by the hundreds like of subscribers. And we had a historic 4,000 to 4,080, like we've never done. It was like 2 days we did it. And I'm like, yeah, man, that's dope. And then 2 seconds later, I'm like, it's not 100,000. It's like, come on now. Come on now. But we try not to, we don't get discouraged about it. All we do is transform that into more work, into more discipline, which is the first video we started this channel on, about discipline. So we said, all right, what are we going to do? I'm going to look at the competitors, right? Look at the competitors, right? The people killing it. And I looked at Anton Daniels, hate him or love him, whatever, right? Anton Daniels' work ethic is ridiculous. For a channel with already at that time had 800,000 subscribers. He was putting out content like 2 a day, 2 shorts, 2 videos. And I said, if that is the competition, how can I try to grow when I'm not even putting in a modicum of that effort? So I said, boom, if he can do it, I could do it. I got a job. I got jobs. I got hobbies. I got a life to live. I could do that. I shouldn't have done that. I shouldn't have done it. That's a lot, especially when you're trying to make sure the quality is high. So I'm throwing in intros, I'm editing, putting music in here, trying to get the shorts, and the algorithm keeps changing all the time. I'm just trying, and listen, we've all been there, right? Some of us been there in high school. I'm just trying to level up on the algorithm. I'm just inside, yo, shorty, what's good? Yo, what's up? I'm just trying to listen to you. I'm buying you flowers. I'm sipping for the algorithm. And the algorithm's like, I don't like that. I don't like that. The algorithm likes the bad boys. out there with the bad boys, right? Out there, algorithms getting invited to Diddy parties. Got Chris Brown and Usher tickets. Out there in the Super Bowl with Bad Bunny, all that stuff. Algo don't care about me. When the algo does come around and wants to say, hey, do you want to cuddle? I'm like, yeah, I've been here, right? And the algo says, I'll bless you a little bit. That's what we got to do. When the algo comes around and tries to bless us, we got to be ready. So our work always has to steadily improve. That's what we're doing. And again, shameless, right? She playing hard to get, right? She nasty with it, right? I've been chasing for a year. I got to chase her another 5 years. She gonna come back and say, yo, I got 7 kids, but there's no way for you to get anywhere but through me. I'm like, all right, man, I'm gonna bring us 4,000 over here. I'm gonna talk about it. You have to listen. Yeah, we can, again, there's so many plans for this page to grow, and the input from you guys is also critical. Right? You guys have a wealth of experience that in areas that I've never touched. I don't have the wherewithal or the time or the ability to excel in some of these places that you guys have. So it's conversations with you guys that improve my game. They say, hey, yo, why don't you try this? Oh, shit. Some of you guys send me content, send me stuff and said, hey, why don't you think about this? Why don't you think about this? Oh, okay. Some of you sometimes just send right before a stream, yo, good luck. Enjoy yourself. You guys don't realize that, right? And we're talking about in real life people, right? You guys don't realize that because, again, I'm kind of dope. I kind of do dope things, right? I end all the videos with that. We're just trying to build something dope. So I seem all the time like I got to figure it out. But that motivation still means the world. I overthink. I critically think. I try to make sure everything I push out is high quality, or at least it's geared towards it. But I'm human and fallible. So when you guys come and say, yo, you know what? This would be dope. You should try this. I'm going to listen to you guys, right? If you tried, you had a pod, you had a space, you know the game, you know, hey, these panels, right? And I observe the panels. I look at the panels and I say, yo, are y'all even listening? Are y'all even trying to have a conversation? Are you trying to come to a solution, or are you trying to just kind of shoot for viral moments? Like tonight's conversation, which I'm going to do American Greed episode on that. I'm going to drop it this week. I hate that. I hate that thing. Right? Also happens that Cheyenne Bryant's on that often. I hate that thing. Will I go on it? Absolutely. Will I be on that seat? Yeah. But I'd get one episode and they'd be like, you trying to solve these people's problems? You trying to help them? Right? That's not what we do here. We try to pander to them so they buy the tickets to the next show. Because I'd be there and say, all right, first of all, that man that you want, you're not going to get him that weight. I'm going to be real with you. That's not really going to happen. He's not going to look at you in that type of way. He will F with you, but he's not going to take you seriously. You've got 7 kids? Cut it. It's not really going to happen for you. He's got too many options. All right, moving on. Oh my God, you need to leave. Or someone's like, yeah, you need to leave that man. Or when that guy, when people come with their significant other and they're not sitting together, I'm like, why are you not sitting together? Why you not? Oh, you're not. And then they go slightly, excuse me, to the back of the stage and say, yeah, you can go home. I'm saying, all right, man. Just plug my channel. That's all I came for. I don't want to check. Just plug my channel. Right? If you're not here yelling and screaming and denouncing people, then it kind of they don't push you. And we can't do that because, again, if my mom would come and watch this channel, she can randomly decide, I'm going to tune into this, or my cousins in Cali, my aunt in Cali, and then report back to my mom. I don't want to have a 4-hour conversation. Think about last time you had a conversation with someone, you had to tank out your earphone because it went boom, boom, boom. It died. You had to get another earphone, earplug to put in because they got to talk you down. Nigerian parents, they do that all the time. You get to talk. Listen, you can't lead people that don't want to be led. Yep. You know, so, right. If I was on that show, if I was on any type of panel discussion, it's sometimes you just know I'm there to look at you and show you that this is an example. This is how you deal with people that end up being combative. You understand, like we said yesterday, me showing you that anger, that vitriol, that passion, I'm upset. That's a bit of intimacy. Why am I sharing with you? I don't like it. I don't know you. No, you get the stoic sort of intellectual. You get the cold sort of just like, no, This is how we do better. Okay, like we had the black woman said, you know, I'm a black woman. And everything she shows through the lens of black woman because she's so keen on defending herself as a black woman. I'm saying, I acknowledge what you're saying is true, but I'm not biting. And you're so used to defending from the bite that she didn't really know what to say. But no, we're not attacking that. We're acknowledging that and we're saying, okay, cool, but why does this affect you? Clay and Meg, why does it affect you? She didn't really have an answer. She kind of just like, yo, Jazz, what's going on? Glad to see you. Jazz right here that just showed us here. She's the first subscriber to the channel, so shout out to her. You got a special place in my heart, Jazz. So this is what we try to show and be an example, that you do not have to be exactly what people expect. They like to poke, they like to prod because they want you to get out of pocket. They want you to get out of hand. All I'm trying to do is show you, right? I'm not saying I'm Moses. I'm saying, yo, but we got to go this way. If you still want to sit there and bicker about nonsense, right? And I go through a lot of clips where people are bickering about nonsense. You're bickering about your line in the baby mama succession. What are we talking about? We're fighting for last place with other black people who also in last place and think, oh my God, I got it. Nah. But you don't have to be last. Especially when we're talking about something like a relay race, which black people absolutely dominate. There's no reason why we're not dominating this. The only reason is because you kind of don't want to. You kind of want to chill. You kind of want to take it easy. You don't want to do anything. But when I say, hey, this is what discipline looks like, and I show you, right? And we got a channel that's littered with the discipline, I can't look at you and say, what better example can I give to you? Came to the scene, right? You can see the progression in just videos and trials and, okay, let me try this, let me try this, let me try this, let me try this. What you don't see behind that, right? There's a Sicky series where I was complete under the weather for 2-3 weeks, still making 2 videos a day, still pushing this stuff out. You don't see the rest of my life still demands attention. You still got to show up in these places and do these things. But we still said, this is what we're going to show. This is discipline. This is what it looks like. Bum, 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 bum. So again, you can agree or disagree. If you don't, yeah. Guys, your next one. Yeah, we'll be racking up. All right. I'll see you. We got Mondays tomorrow. We'll set those up. That'll probably be sometime early in the evening tomorrow. I hope to see some of you guys there. We talk money, right? But again, we're here to agree or disagree. All right. Let's get back to a little bit of the fun. Let's get back to a little bit of enjoyment. So people, despite what they say, people still want to get married. It's in there. They still want to get married. The data is there. It shows there, right? People still getting married. It's not like, especially with black people, we're coming back up from a dip where we were not getting married. Now we're on the right track again, despite what you see online. But that still doesn't excuse that some of us don't know what the hell we're doing. And we're not just keeping it about black people. This is something that we like to get all races, and we're not going to identify a race here. We don't know the race, but you can let me know, and you can agree or disagree with this person's behavior. You let me know when you hear this story.
Oh my God, y'all. My dream wedding is crashing down around me. July 11th, 2026 is supposed to be our day, but I messed up royally by stepping out with my ex, and the fool snitched on me like a total traitor. My ex FaceTimed my fiance on my phone and showed me sleeping in his bed. Fiance is ignoring me, but I've shelled out every last dime for this extravaganza. Venue, flowers, the works, all from my hard-earned cash. And now my fiance is straight up ghosting? The responsibilities. Rehearsal, invites, he's dragging his feet like he's got cold feet for real. Where's the man I fell for? He needs to step up and get married, or will I walk down that aisle alone? Am I crazy? Yes. Or is this a red flag apocalypse? Help.
That's a crazy person there.
Have you ever in your life heard someone say red flag apocalypse?
No, I haven't.
Is he out of pocket? I'm talking about the person you were cheating on your fiance with. FaceTime the dude? Hey, nah, she here snuggled up. I put her to sleep. Right? We know women often. She's a red flag? Yeah, she's swinging that flag. But there was a time when women were doing that, right? They were taking pictures of the dude sleeping in the bed right next to them, right? Yeah, the cheat is definitely out of pocket. right? If you don't agree with that, I would love to have a whole conversation with you about that. Like a whole conversation. I think that she is out of pocket. Jokingly, yeah, the dude's not out of pocket that she was cheating with. He's trying to say, listen, man, this ain't it. Right? We all know that story that circled the interwebs, Al Gore's internet or Beyonce's internet, depending on what side you came from, where dude picks up shorty at the bar, she takes him home, they do the damn thing, and then he goes to the bathroom and realizes, hey, yo, she's actually has a whole live-in man. So he takes, opens up the toilet seat, and on the underside of the seat, he writes, I didn't know, blah, blah, she cheated, blah, blah. He sends a dude a note. And then he closes the toilet, right? So since, women only the lid, but not the entire thing, when he went to pee, he saw that, and then he broke up with her, and she was upset that, this guy did that. In this case, I was right. I should have warned you. Right. I did. I was not going to stop. Right. Yeah. This is definitely why I got this. This is why I got stuff. Yeah. I was not going to stop effing your shorty. Right. That's where men, sort of, where we fall short. We're just like, it's in front of our face. I'm going to apologize to you, but I don't know you. But I'm going to do this thing, and then just make sure you get the information later. It's not even, has it been guide code written for this? I got to go to another meeting so we can get an updated playbook to say, is this what we're supposed to be doing here? Because yeah. That's a whole Red Army. That's a whole Red Army. That's not how you move. That's how it's not supposed to be. Right. But if you guys are fine with that, cool. Right. I think we're all on the same page. The next one, right? We understand, especially now we're talking specifically Black community. For whatever reason, right now it's being gay is used as a derogatory when you're talking to men that are not gay. You use that, but you also have so much love for actual gays. So men are kind of left in this weird space and conundrum. But we know when it comes down to, and you guys can do a show of hands, would you want to be with a man that's bi, right? Usually that's a complete turnoff for a lot of women. It's just, he's bi. Nah, I'm out. I'm good. No, I don't want to do it. Especially if you live in Atlanta, right? That's just a non-starter. Completely call it, right? But sometimes I think you don't know when to be honest with people. So we make up nonsensical deal breakers and pretend like that's the issue.
Would it be a deal breaker for you if you knew I ever hooked up with a guy?
Oh, definitely not. I'm actually bi as well.
Both of you blindfolds off in 3, 2, 1. Thumb up if you are interested in the person next to you. Thumb down if you are not. In 3, 2, 1.
What's the reason though, right? If being bi wasn't the issue, right? You were cool with that. Yo, I'm bi too. We're bi. Yo, we can do this together. We can buy life together. What would be the reason why you would say, and I think we all know, listen, I'm just not attracted to you. Buy all that other stuff is cool. I'm just not attracted to you. We don't have a society where we can be really just flat out honest with each other, especially in places like this in front of everyone else. And shout out to Marissa. I think you actually sent me this one. Where I could just be real with you.
Well, why is it a no?
To be honest, a little bit of the ripped jeans.
A guy could be like, yo, I've sucked dick, and someone's like, yeah, that's great, but you're wearing ripped jeans. That's a no.
So, what have you learned? If you have ripped jeans, get rid of them. Hey, absolutely, get rid of them. It's not going to do you any favors. It's not going to do you favors. You can have all the fun you want with men, but if you have ripped jeans, that's where fashion Fashion is where you're doing. I thought there was supposed to be like a girlfriend effect where you help us do better. Oh, what's going on, Mark? Open the tap. I'm glad you caught alive. Right? Usually out there trying to do the Lord's work, trying to save the world. But here you are. Appreciate you jumping in. Yeah, listen, ripped jeans is where you draw the line. Not that I ripped another man's jeans. But you'll get that one later, right? Don't worry about that. Let that percolate a little bit. You'll get that later. So yeah, sometimes just be real like, hey, listen, I like my men a certain way and you're not it. It has nothing to do with you being bi. We could enjoy that together, but you're just not who I thought I'd be looking at when I took this thing off. Cool? Cool. I think that's a little bit of more constructive criticism rather than a guy just thinking, damn, damn. I just wish I didn't wear these jeans. I just wish I didn't wear these goddamn jeans. No. So again, I don't agree that this is actually about the jeans. I think it's just like, yeah, you're just not my speed. It's not what I'm attracted to. And even if and you see that sometimes on a pop the balloon, but you see that from the male point of view when you have to tell a woman that, yo, you're just not my type. What do they say? Chemistry. Oh, the style, what you got on. No, you're just not physically. I'm not there. I'm not your type. You're out of shape. Your guts hanging out. That's not what they want to do. Right? Confusing. They seem to be in the same Jazz. Come on now. Come on now. You know we have to have a conversation now when it comes down, when the music comes on. You understand that she's not looking at him like we're the same looks wise. She's shooting up all the time, right? Hypergamy. You won't call it that. I don't know. If he could have said, I also do these things. Here's my list of successes. These are things I do. All she does know is like, no, he likes men and women. Okay? And again, I'm born and raised in New York. I don't have any issue with what you want to do. You do what you want to do. Whatever makes you happy. Just leave me out of it. Right? Let me do my nonsense over here in the shadowy dark, like you do your nonsense over there. Keep it in the shadowy dark. Don't do it in front of me in the subway. Don't do it in front of me in my movie theater, right? But enjoy yourself wholeheartedly. So that's all she knows. Oh, when those comes on, she's like, I can't take you around my friends. Right? You don't look like a boyfriend. You don't look like my man. You still got to look the part. Even though she's mid. She's average. She knows that I'm supposed to get this. The data is in. All the data look at Tinder, Bumble, from Match, all those sites, right? All those aggregate sites. They look and say, who gets the most attention? And even men get damn near nothing. I said it in another video. I have one that's probably coming up where even mediocre men or even men that are considered handsome, they don't get the same amount of attention that gorgeous women get in terms of swipes, in terms of likes and all that. So men tend to have to be more serious when it comes to, hey, you match with this person liked you. You got to take that person serious because it comes now and again. There's a video I came across where a woman said she was on, I think, Bumble or one of these sites, Tinder, Bumble. She was on it for 10 days. And she had like 300 or 400 matches. And the measure value of that is like, yo, a man won't get that in years. Years. He won't get that type of attention. That you have to sit there and sift through. Like, so now it makes sense that you could be picky. You get all the attention. You can be picky and say, you know what? His eyebrow isn't symmetrical with the left one. Next. It's the same thing in we'll take it off the dating apps. We'll take it into the real deal Holyfield in real life. Sometimes, and Jazz, we've had this conversation before. You won't compliment a man because you made the assumption that he gets compliments. He doesn't. You look at a handsome man and say, no, he's handsome. He knows it. He gets compliment. Women compliment all the time. They don't. So when men get the compliment, it sits with them, right? It sustains them for 6-7 months at a time. Well, grandma said it was handsome, right? We store that, right? For the dark times when we pull that card out. Oh yeah, she said that. It makes a difference. Meanwhile, you can get it a lot more often. You know, if you include online, you include the virtual side, you get that a lot. Guys coming up, sometimes it's inarticulate, right? Sometimes it's aggressive. Sometimes it's damn right vulgar. But in terms of attention, it exists. Men, no, there's times when there's nothing happening in the phone. There's nothing happening in real life. He goes out to the grocery store and he just comes back from the grocery store. That's it. There's no one sliding in there. He goes out for drinks. He pays for all his drinks, all his food. There's not someone coming there. Oh, nah, babe, put your card away. I got this. There's no suave lady come up and doing something like that. Or even come up and look in his way and say, yo, you are handsome. I can count the times that has happened randomly. That's not my mom or my sister. There's one time I was driving, this back when I was in Long Island, driving at the light, right? Lady on the right, flags me down, tells me why that window. She's like, you know you're handsome. I was like, oh my God. See, it's still in the file. It's still pullable to say, oh, you know, when you're feeling bad about yourself, there you go. Check that out. So her looking and saying, yeah, you guys are definitely on the same sort of level. That's not how women, that's not to our perception. I never want to talk for women when we have women present, right? Yeah, I was absolutely blushing. Absolutely blushing. Oh my gosh. Oh God. Right? You know, but, you know, smooth as it was, I still got to go. Right? She didn't buy me dinner, so I just kept moving. You think it was easy? That's not going to happen. You just can't call me handsome. But I'm saying men don't get this sort of attention that women get ubiquitously. And even average women do better than attractive men. They do as well as super attractive men, that type of attention. Because it's skewed the way men, 80% of men, men find 80% of women attractive. Women find 20% of men attractive. Pareto principle. It's a game, right? I'm not going to be here and gnash my teeth against it, pull my hair out and say it's unjust, it's unreal. It is what it is. We just have to sort of move accordingly and say, damn, that sucks. Right? Damn, that sucks. Keep it pushing. You see the same thing. Well, I see the same thing in a creative space. How, and I do a lot of, you call it research. I look at a lot of people's lives. I look at a lot of people's pages, especially when I see the level of effort they're putting into their product or not. And you just see it, right? How many subscribers does this person have? How many likes? How many views? And some of these people, you don't know, you're attractive and you have a chest through the roof. Those and not as if we're just saying that somehow, well, it's not the same. No, these people are even more engaged, donating, liking, hovering every word. Your level of output can decrease the level of effort you put behind a stream, a video. It doesn't have to be much because people are there oogling and looking at you. Yes. Is there a value drop off where you kind of feel like people aren't here because of what you're putting out, the product? They're here to simply see you. Yes, that exists. When women like that reveal, like streamers like that reveal, oh, I have a boyfriend, they lose subscribers. They lose attention. All those people that were there, a lot of those people, they completely just drop off. So a lot of people keep their relationship secret. Oh yeah, I got a whole boyfriend here. The minute that gets revealed, the fantasy is ruined. They're thinking, I can do this and have a shot. They go elsewhere. It's just a game, right? It's a double standard. We don't like it. It sucks, right? To the grandmas giving the handsome. See, yeah, that's why we like her. That's why we effing with Busty Grandma. She was like, no, I'll tell him what's up. Right? Give him time. I'll go to a swingers event with him. Jazzy missed that in the beginning. Right? I'll do all the nastiness with him. And I get my little O on. Right? But listen, we're going to keep going. And we're going to talk about it. So look, we're back to Cheyenne Bryant, right? We close out the show, close out the stream. One of the important things that we sometimes have to realize that when we are not the authority in a space or on a topic, we cede that to someone else. We cede that to people in that space so they can give their testimony, so they can give the explanation exactly what it is. Now, on the topic specifically on Cheyenne Bryant, we talked about accreditation. Right? We got on that. We don't really need to be expert now. We talked about that. So I led that conversation based on my level of expertise in that. In my search from that point of view as a student, trying to look and trying to see and navigate that game of what it would take to become a therapist. But from an actual therapist point of view, from someone that has actually done the work and got into that space, into that spot, they can talk about billing, about licensures, and how no credible authority in this space, no credible clinician would willingly say, I don't need a license. This is not just a sellout thing. This is a run from the fact that I probably, and this is how licenses work. You get your license and you're good for X amount of time. You have to renew, just like your driver's license. They make changes. Where you got your driver's license, the DMV has shut down. So now what do you have to do? You got to go somewhere new, but your driver's license is still good. They'll let it rock. Now it comes up where people start looking and saying, you got to renew. You don't have the credentials to renew. So you just simply pretend, oh, I don't need to. These other people that I'm seeing, I only needed it so I could bill insurance. Us in the Black community, we fall for it. And if I could be frank, we fall for it because we're lazy. We have the world of information readily available to you on your phone. It's usually inches from your face. You can look up anything you want. With careful applications of VPN, you can even get naughty. You can go to Tutor, you can go to the Onion, right? Where you can look up, you can be on a dark web looking up all sorts of whatever you want. We leave depravity out of this. You can look up anything you want to know. If you were so skilled, hack the Pentagon. Find out all this other information. You can find it. But when it comes down to simply, what's the importance of a licensure and for a therapist? We don't do any of that. We say, oh, like most things, you know, we're cool with it just. So she gets to run circles around you. She gets to talk to you on the Joe Budden podcast because no one on there is an intellectual on her level. No one on there can get like, wait a second. Well, actually, I don't think that's correct. What you're saying here doesn't really make any sense because in this experience, and this, and this, and this, so you just let her talk and she gets to spew this. And what do we understand happens in these spaces online? Someone can make a claim. You have X amount of time to retort it. And that X amount of time is usually seconds after someone said it. Seconds after they said it. Because once the podcast is concluded and it has been pushed further on, right? Yeah, he wasn't there for that day. Right? That's exactly my point. Exactly what I was getting at, Blair. He wasn't there. But even if he was, he's too much of a professional and sort of sometimes a little too left-leaning to say, I'm going to call this out. He'll call out Joe and everyone else. He'll scream. But for her, he's not going to sit there and be like, nah, you're wrong. You're wrong. That's actually not how it goes. So what do we really see? Most people, and what do? Most interviewers, professional interviewers. And we know that, you know, Joe Budden is not a professional interviewer. What are you supposed to do? You're supposed to research, right? You're supposed to research the person and what's important to them, what's controversial about them, what is going on in their life. What are we going to talk about? You have this laid out in such a way that you do such a good job that it looks seamless. You never think to look, let me look behind the curtain, right? You're satisfied with the show that the Wizard of Oz puts on. You never have to say, what's going on here? You're cool with what you see. That's when it's done well. When it's not done well, you get these awkward pauses. You get these snipes. You get these areas where people stop and say, that doesn't make any sense. If you're in the know, if you're slightly in the know, then you do that. But on the part of a grifter, if you will, you pick your spots. You know when and who, what places you go, what to say, who to say it to, who to challenge, who to walk around, who to run circles around with flowery language, flowery prose, because they won't get it. Their talents lie somewhere else. So I can hit you with this and you'll sit there and be like, oh no, that makes sense. That sounds scientifical. All right, that sounds good. I'm good with it, right? But you forget This podcast has leverage, it has reach. So people in the know look and they say, nah, none of that is actually true. What you sit here and talk about things that are convoluted like insurance billing, snooze fest. No one cares about that. People want to go right to sleep when you start talking about stuff like that. No. But the rest of us that are in the know say that's wrong. Joe's not going to challenge that. No one on that show. No one's going to challenge that in that moment, right? All the nuts that she was saying, but she said, yeah. If she wouldn't agree to disagree, there's a lot to do with. Actually, too much. And this is coming from the current representative of the Girls. Oh, he had to leave her. How convenient. How convenient, Jazz. He left early. He should have pulled the plug on her mic on his way out. But we have an actual clinician that can tell you, that can debunk a lot of what she's saying. Again, I think part of when you are in these spaces talking about some of these conversations, know when to cede authority and let someone that knows what they're talking about actually cook. If this is Breaking Bad, Walter White says, let's cook. You let him take the lead. He knows what he's talking about. He knows how to cook. He knows what's going on. Let's hear from it. Let's see what we got.
No longer practice under a license.
Right
now I'm in private practice, I'm saying. And that's what people don't understand, right? So just to educate some folks a little bit.
Hello, my name is Dr. Raquel Martin. I'm a licensed clinical psychologist, professor of sciences, and podcast host who specializes in Black health and well-being. And I want to break down a clip from the Joe Budden podcast featuring someone who presents herself as Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. But before we dive in, I want to make something incredibly clear. Having a doctorate does not mean someone is a licensed mental health professional. You can have a doctorate in literature and be unlicensed, and you are still a doctor. You can have a doctorate in education and hold an LPC, being a licensed professional counselor, and you are a licensed mental health professional, and you are still a doctor, but your doctorate is not in psychology. When evaluating anyone's credentials, it's really critical to look at two things: what their doctorate is actually in, and whether they hold a relevant clinical license. In this case, the person you're about to hear from is unlicensed. I'm going to break down why that.
She makes great content. It's just she's missing that push, that oomph that resonates with the community. The amount of people that took what she said, her clip, reposted it somewhere else, that got more traction than hers, because where did I get that from? If you don't put it in a song and a dance, Black people don't listen. So you're coming with straight facts, and sometimes that's a snooze fest to the larger community that needs to hear this message.
Matters, and why this particular message is harmful, especially to the Black community that she claims to be serving and that I actually serve.
A license is really only needed so you can bill insurance.
That is incredibly misleading. Yes, you do need a license to bill insurance, but that is not why licensure exists. Licensure protects you. It means I have completed specific education and supervised clinical hours, passed rigorous exams, and I'm accountable to a regulatory board. If I breach confidentiality, if I cross ethical boundaries or harm you, you have somewhere to file a complaint and be sure that I'm held accountable. A license is not paperwork just for billing. It's a consumer protection. When someone drops or loses or no longer has a license, they're not solely avoiding the insurance hassle. They're also removing your recourse if something goes terribly wrong.
This is critical right here, right? And Blair, we'll just real quick. Yeah, in our world, right? And this is a perfect position to pause on. Like, to her credit, she knows how to look the part, the alluring part that's going to get you booked again and again and again on these spaces that Black people like to frequent. One, the first thing, you get pretty privileged, you're easy on the eye, so people want to listen to you. They're more readily to accept what you're saying without listening to the substance of what you're saying. Versus the actual doctor, actual clinician, well, you're giving stuff there, but you're dressed modestly, conservatively. Black people looking at this like, no, I don't care what you got to say. But what you're telling them is the actual factuals. This becomes part of the issue, one of the largest issues that plagues the Black community. If you do not look the presentable part, then I don't want to listen to what you have to say. If your dresses aren't tight enough, if you're not showing enough cleavage, if you're not showing up to Jeezy in see-through dresses, I don't really care. It doesn't resonate. Or at the very least, I don't direct enough of my attention that way in order for you to actually get your message across. She's not getting, one person is getting booked for Cam, for Nick, for all the Black people. And another is in their car doing a response video to what she's saying, to the lies she's spewing.
Not binded by BBS, the Behavior Board Science Rules and Regulations and Ethics. And so it just opened up a whole nother, floor in industry for me.
And she's also saying this like it's a good thing. I want to state something really important. Ethics codes exist to protect you from exploitation and boundary violation and providers practicing outside of their competence. When someone celebrates being free from ethical oversight, I want you to think of that as a red flag, a flashing one. It's a warning sign because those rules exist because real harm happens when they're not in place. So celebrating that you don't have to be accountable to that should be concerning to you.
So, for instance, one of the rules out there is something as simple as you go to someone, right? If you go to me, I'm your clinician, right? Jazz, you and your husband come to me, right? And I'm looking at you as you come in and say, God damn, I need that. But this is internal. So when you come to me with what you need help with, and I sync, right? I guide you guys towards divorce, and you're in this very vulnerable position where I can make that happen. I have the sway. I have the knowledge. I know which buttons to push. I'm literally listening to you tell me the pitfalls of relationship. I know how to separate you guys. So I do that just so I can take now to start suggesting, I think I should see you guys individually so we could really dive into what's really nagging you. And when you come in vulnerable, now I start playing the game. Now I start inserting myself in places where your husband should be inserting himself. Well, this is why you have your licensure. This is why you have the ethics committee that you are bound to. Because when people take advantage of that, and people are human, clinicians are human, they're not above this. It has happened for it. It happens often. You have at least a regulatory body that says, whoa, we can't stop it from happening, that it has happened to you, but we can prevent this from happening to someone else. This is one of your only recourses from bad practices. When now someone is celebrating, oh, I'm not going to renew the license, so I get the freedom to do what? To practice how you see fit, to make stuff up that as you see fit, to call someone low vibrational, to add modicums, stuff like that that's not in the DSM. But it sounds good. So what do? We support this. We push this. We think this is fine. Right. We have ethics for a reason because it exists based upon what we generally say is the good for the people. You are in a position of trust. Just like every time you see cops doing something like, I hopped in the back seat with Shorty and she gave me some head and I let her go. Dog, you're not supposed to do that. But that's not how it goes. Right? It doesn't even sound good. You're not supposed to do that. You're violating, you're taking advantage of your position. And there needs to be some recourse that says you cannot do that. So if you're uninitiated, if you don't know, then what she's saying sounds good. And even Joe's saying, well, why would you do that? Why would you have a license? Why would you not want the freedom to say and do what you want? Okay. I don't have a license. I'm free to do what I want, what I deem reasonable. I'm free to stick a rubber stop in your mind and in your mouth and attach electrodes to the sides of your head and give you electroshock therapy because I thought it sounded good. I think this makes sense to me. It's a practice that people used. Why not? You got some bad memories, you can't sleep. Oh, I got a solution. Let me wipe out the last 36 hours to 3 months of your life. Randomly. I don't know how it works. We're not sure. But we know it does happen if you do this. Or there's ethics that says you shouldn't be doing this. In extreme cases, you should be doing this. Okay. Push it further. Why not I give you drugs? Well, there's no regulatory body that says, one, I can't prescribe this because I don't have a licensure. I never got that license. It's not important. I'm free to do what I want to do. Let me go recommend you DMT. I don't know anything about it. Sounds good. And you sit there in this position, in this vulnerable position, and you listen, you say, yeah, no, she recommended. She's a doctor. You didn't do a deep dive into that and say, oh, you're doctoring in what? From where? A defunct school. Oh. If I was more concerned about getting actual treatment, right? Rather than saying, I went to Cheyenne Bryant and I went to her for social clout. I booked a session with her. Somehow that is supposed to grant me something. If you actually go to someone and you recognize that you're in need, you need assistance for some sort of mental health, some sort of relational issue. Me and my wife, we're together. I want to be with her. I know she wants to be with me, but we cannot seem to agree to something. We cannot actually talk. We cannot move forward on things. We have kids. We have a family. We built a life. We built businesses together. We don't want to see that tear about, but we're walking towards that despite our best efforts. So let me go see someone. I recognize I don't have the answers. Someone else may have them. Oh, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, let's go to her. We make the assumption that based on her years of experience, she'll be able to guide us towards the right path. For those of you that have actually been in therapy, you rarely ever stop and question the utility of your therapist. You give them the grace and understanding that they know what they're talking about. Oh yeah, no, they said I need to go back and do this. You don't question it. You don't look it up. You come to me and say, yo, how do I get to Broadway? I give you directions. You be like, I don't fucking believe you. You look it up, right? I give you a recipe. You're like, nah, I'll look it up. We do all these other things, but when it comes to people in positions of authority, we make the assumption that what they're saying is absolutely factual. So you go back home, you believe what she said, you take that, you use that as homework. She gives you some flowery, esoteric nonsense that actually does not move the needle. You come up with new flowery terms, things that don't actually have any meaning in a DSM. And you think this has got to be based on some sort of experience that works. No, it's based on, I'm a woman, it kind of feels good. I think this was happened. Okay. Do you have the success on your own if you're leaning on that? No, I don't. But I've been in the right. No, we've elevated you to this status. So because we see you on the screen, because we see you on these shows, and these people, we make the assumption have done their research. No, she's on tonight's conversation. You think Ace Metaphor done his research and looked and said, yeah, no, she's got credentials. No, she's got buzz. She's got motion. That's all we're really cared about. The buzz, the motion. How can we now galvanize and take advantage of that and push that? You know, tonight's conversation already does not care about your issues tonight or any other night. But it makes for great clips and makes sure you selling out some of these places. Not selling out because you can see some of these places are actually empty. But you keep buying tickets. We go on tour. We go on tour. Let me ask you guys something. People that have been in therapy. When's the last time your therapist was like, I can't see you on Monday, I'm on tour? Oh yeah. I thought it sounded weird, right? I thought it was a little weird.
As a therapist, two things: you can obviously make what you deserve, because therapy is real. We're giving everything we have in there, and we're unpacking shit, and we're helping you process through things. So it's not us sitting there, well, if you're an effective therapist, saying, tell me more. You should be unpacking, and you should be able to take somebody and drive with them to their goal.
And here's another thing. She keeps calling herself a therapist, and in most states, that's actually illegal without a license. You cannot legally use the title therapist or provide psychotherapy without licensure. What she's describing now is coaching, and coaching and therapy are fundamentally different. Coaches help with goals and accountability. Therapists are trained to diagnose and treat mental health conditions, trauma and depression and suicidality and psychosis. If someone with untreated bipolar disorder or PTSD thinks they're getting therapy from a coach, they're going to be seriously harmed. These are.
So you come, right? You have trouble sleeping, right? You keep flashing these events as critical in your life. You have some sort of trauma, some sort of abuse when you're younger. You have PTSD, you have depression. And I call you low vibrational because I watch as you jump from relationship to relationship and have kids here. I say that's low vibrational. I'm not even qualified to talk about your actual underlying issues. You're not ever going to get the help that you need from me here. All I'm going to give you is dime store psychology and make it sound good because it's coming from a face that generally is accepted as pretty. That's it. because I know enough the words, I know enough the jargon, I know enough the lingo to say these things to you. You sit there and you fill in the rest of the blanks. I don't have to do anything else. You're fooling yourself.
Actual conditions that go undiagnosed and untreated, especially within the Black community.
My clients, the truth is that in order to bill insurance, I have to diagnose you. And you only get about 6 weeks. In order for me to get 6 more weeks approval, guess what?
This frames diagnosis as something imposed on you solely for insurance purposes, and that's backwards. A diagnosis isn't a billing trick. It's clinically meaningful information that guides treatment. And the 6 weeks claim is also not accurate across the board. Now, I'm not saying that we should not be addressing insurance, because we need to rise up when it comes to insurance authorizations. Like, we very much do. That is a different video. But insurance authorizations vary widely by plan, diagnosis, and medical necessity. Many people receive months of years of covered therapy. And she's also making it sound like licensure forces short-term diagnosis-driven care. And that's just simply not how it works, as someone who is actually a licensed mental health professional.
Majority of people who know that in order to bill insurance as a therapist or a physician or a psychologist, psychiatrist, you have to diagnose. So what do they rather do? Pay out of pocket.
That's what I
And
do.
so when I realized that, I thought, well, okay, it may create a gap within our community, our Black community, who can't afford health care or afford mental health services.
I hear the concern in the access.
So if you're talking about, I want to pay out of pocket, or I can't afford because I have insurance, or I don't have insurance, and I'm not coming to see you for mental, and you're saying that these people are paying out of pocket. If your concern is more about helping these people in underserved communities, then you have to go where they are. You have to meet them where they are. You saying that I'm just going to get rid of this licensure so then they can pay out of pocket. These people that can't pay out of pocket, that don't have the resources to pay out of pocket. No one is forcing you to where you have to go and treat people. But one of the things she said before is about she's the most sought after, highest paid. So you're not really in these underserved communities taking about people that don't have insurance so you can build them. You're not getting rid of or not reaffirming or going back for your license so you can treat these people that are underserved. No, they're going to remain underserved as is. You're going there because right now there's enough of a buzz versus the trouble it would take for you to get that license reinstated. These people, they don't care that you have a license or not. They're not well versed in it. It's not important to them. They're going to you because you've already passed the threshold of acceptance, especially in the Black community. You're a household name. They can look and say, when I look you up, you're saying the things that I already feel. And we know the biggest proponents and purveyors of therapy are going to be women. So we're in a relationship and you come and tell me we need to go to therapy. We've got the money. We're doing well. But let's go see Dr. Cheyenne Bryant. That's in a circle. That's popular enough. That's where it is. Let's go do that. We can pay out of pocket. It's fine. Isn't the relationship more important to you than that little bit of money? Don't you love me? We should be doing this. All right, so now we go see Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, and she can say whatever she wants. And if things don't go well, if therapy puts us in a wrong direction, or therapy actually ends up harming us, what recourse do I have? I can't go and say, all right, let me look you up. Let me go to the ethics board. And you don't have a license. They can look and say, she's not a therapist. She's a life coach. You went to a life coach, and this person talked to you as a therapist. They didn't go there she doesn't, whenever she's talking to any of these people, any of these Black men, she's not talking about holding them accountable towards their goals that they're trying to change. No, she's coming in there and telling them who they are, what they're doing, how it is akin to this sort of this and this. Anyone that tries to diagnose you on the spot is lying. Because it takes, like she's saying, takes 6 weeks. It takes sometimes more than that. That's why when we came with the terms and we were always saying, oh, this person's a narcissist. I was dating a narcissist. I was dating a narcissist. These people online screaming about them dating a narcissist. Here's a fact, right? And this is not from someone with a license, but someone that understands the difference of what it actually means when you're actually around someone who's a narcissist. A narcissist is obsessed with their image. Obsessed with it. They don't feel the same sort of things you feel in terms of guilt, in terms of regret, in terms of I shouldn't do that. No. If you were dating a narcissist, you would never have the wherewithal or the time or the ability to post it online. They'd be there. They'd be there. They'd have your phone. You'd be in the corner somewhere, hurt, either emotionally or physically, and that thing would be gone. That's a narcissist because the thing didn't work out. No. Most people, you're not going to come across narcissists. You can come across people that have things that seem narcissistic. We all have tendencies or traits like that. Because someone doesn't acquiesce and do what you want to do doesn't mean they're narcissist. For you to actually have someone diagnosed as a narcissist, they got to see a clinician over time, and they have to hit X amount number of traits on this. They have to be tested again and again rigorously before you arrive at the conclusion this is narcissist. They all have the same sort of telltale sounds in the beginning, but you have to actually be licensed to make these claims. If you're going to see Dr. Cheyenne Bryant, you might as well just Google the symptoms yourself and decide, that sounds good. I'll go with that. That makes sense. That's enough for me. The real world is not like that. The real world is consequences, and there's things in place to protect people from whatever you just decide that is real or is not real. But for whatever reason, the Black community, we just are kind of fine giving up the ghost.
This problem is real. Her solution, unregulated, unlicensed coaching, isn't the answer. And there are a wealth of licensed Black therapists, he, she, and they, Black-owned practices, sliding scale clinics, community mental health centers doing this work with their licensure intact, keeping their credentials because their clients deserve protection. The solution to healthcare access gaps isn't removing safeguards. It's expanding access to regulated care. It's providing more scholarships for people like us to get the training necessary. It's more support group. It's actually mutual aid, but it's not what she is stating.
I'm in private practice.
None of that sounds good.
I make much more money. It allows me to have more leverage and really be hands-on with my clients. I'm not binded by BBS, the Behavior Board Science of Science Rules and Regulations and Ethics.
And I want to.
Why would you not want someone bound by regulation in this case? This is not peptides. This is not the FDA saying don't use that, while the rest of the world says it's really good for you. This is not that. This is a group saying this type of therapy is harmful. Don't cross these lines because you can damage these people. You may not understand this because you are a singular individual therapist. We're making an assumption on a therapist. You're a single individual therapist and you have your own wealth of experience. But we are basically summoning the entire body of this, from what we teach, from what we test, from what we have done our clinical experiments on. This is what we're saying is the current body of knowledge. Now it changes over time, right? Like evolution, it's over time that we evolve, that we realize, okay, some of the stuff we believed as gospel before, like everything Freudian, we say, oh yeah, everything goes back to the mom, the sexual attraction of the mom. Now we realize, not so much. But we hold that, we say that, okay, that's a body of information. You were saying, Cheyenne Bryant is saying, I know better than the rest of the body. So much so that I do not have to be regulated by it, by the board. Yeah, if you look at About page, there's so many awards of recognition. It's so easy. Same thing that Saadia Khan did. She had a bunch of accolades. The problem in our community, we often look a layer deep, maybe a layer deep. We'll Google and say, oh, we hit a landing page. It looks official. That's it. That's enough for us. Oh, cool. She says all the right things. Looks official. I'm good. Let's keep it pushing. We don't do any extra work. We don't just say, all right, you went to this school. You don't say, let me look up your license number. Because some of the stuff you're saying doesn't really make sense. And it doesn't really make sense only really when you're a man. But when you're out here calling grown men, successful men, low vibrational, a lot of women eat it up and say, nah, she ate with that. And they do that clock it motion, right? They did a clock commotion. She ate with that, and we just let that rock.
To be honest about what's really happening here, because the messaging is awful to me. The pitch to potential clients is, I can give you more personalized care. The pitch to herself is, I make significantly more money and I'm not bound by any kind of oversight. And those are two entirely different things. And when your financial incentive is disconnected from professional accountability, that is a conflict of interest. However, she is not bound by anything when it comes to conflicts of interest, because the only thing that she is bound by is the limits of her own ethics and morality.
Let's put it a different way, right? A way that I think the rest of us can kind of understand. Right? Growing up in New York, we understand the dangerous parts of the month is towards the end of the month, because quotas were a thing. I've got to make X amount of, tickets, arrests, stops, stop and frisk. All this came out that there was a quota system. And that quota system, sometimes there was money attached to this. One of the issues that we have with policing is the attachment money. If I don't make X amount of arrests, I don't have X amount of activity, what happens? Then we lose some of this money. When we start tying our behavior, as in something in law enforcement, to money, then we're no longer looking to incentivize actual policing. We're just to incentivize, I'm trying to enrich your pockets. One of my good friends, one of my best friends, at the time she was, I think she was sergeant, NYPD, or lieutenant. And it was a birthday. We went to a birthday dinner in New York, in Brooklyn. And I'm surrounded by a bunch of cops. And, we're talking. And they're talking about, I think it was maybe the 7.3, 7.5. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on it. But they were complaining like that overtime was down. Overtime was down. So they didn't have the opportunity to make extra money. And I know we all want extra money. Right? We all want extra money. But I had to give them that outside perspective, because I'm surrounded by a bunch of NYPD officers. I'm saying, wait a second. You're upset that essentially you guys are really good at your job and crime is down. That's what you're upset at. I get it. You frame it because the lack of overtime, but it's because there's nothing for you to do to over police. You're not needed. They all gave me this look like, shut the fuck up. What are you talking about? This is the same thing with Cheyenne Bryant. This is the very same thing. When it's being motivated by money, I get the freedom to do what I want. More importantly, I bill you directly. None of that gets cooked to insurance. I don't have to maintain insurance. All of that is straight to me. In fact, the more I charge you, because I'm with wealthy clientele, the easier it is for me to take all that to my pocket, and I don't have to kick it up to anyone else. And as long as I call myself a coach, it's all gravy. But you don't know you're going to me for life coaching. You're going to me thinking I'm performing myself as a doctor. It'd be more effective if you call yourself Dr. Coach, so people have a better understanding of what you're actually talking about.
Look, coaching has real value, and y'all know I be hold real coaches down. If you want goal accountability, a coach can help, but coaching is not therapy, and no coach worth their salt will say anything other. If you're dealing with mental health like anxiety and depression and trauma and these other things, you deserve a licensed mental health professional whose conduct is subject to oversight. And I know it sounds like gatekeeping, but it's truly basic safety. And it's important in communities where access has been denied historically. The answer has never been fewer protections for us as Black people. It has always been more access to regulated, accountable care, because we deserve that. And I also want to address that it took me some time to think about doing this video, because as a Black woman, it's just been really, really tough for us as Black women. And as someone who states that they advocate for the Black community, he, she, and they create programs for the Black community, is the founder of the largest mental health and education community for Black women in the country. I totally understand where we're at when I'm holding my programs and things of that nature. But I do want you to know that I always state that my Black love is also accountability.
Black people don't care because you're not showing your tits. It's harsh, but that's what it is. You're not showing your body. So they're not going to listen to that type of messaging. They don't care about that. They don't care about the track record of the stuff that you did. They care about, what can I see right now on you? Can you hold my interest? Can you keep that? And right now, Dr. Cheyenne Bryant is way better than that than a lot of us. Way better opportunities than that, and capitalizing on that. That is the issue. You look the part. Before you do anything, especially when it comes down to the minority community and the Black community, you have to at least be easy on the eyes where we look and say, God, now it doesn't really matter what you said. I was just staring at you. But if you could cut out the video and listen to the words, your face will start turning up, especially if you have any type of training, any type of education in psychology. You start saying like, what the f- is this person saying? You start calling, looking up numbers and say, yo, you can't talk about this. I appreciate that, cuz. You start looking and saying, yo, what are you talking about? You can't say these things and be taken seriously. People would, just like that other therapist, right? And we're going to do a little internet sleuthing and a little remembering. When she was out there twerking, right? While talking about these men talking disparagingly about black men, twerking, all that. And then what happened? The community, especially men, they called her job and said, look at what she's saying. And it's not like they call in specific disparage her. They said, look at it. She was fired. Then she came on complaining, crying, and saying, I was only trying to help you guys. You fools. There's a regulatory body for a reason. You just can't get a thing and just say, now I'm entitled to say exactly what I want, whenever I want, in whatever fashion that I want. That's not how it works, for a reason, because you can do more harm. And that was that oath, do no harm. You're actually harming the community that you're supposed to be able to protect, but it's about enriching your pockets. Now, if that's what you wanted to do in the first place, come out right and say, listen, I'm trying to get paid. I'm trying to get paid. I'm trying to have you guys, I'm trying to build up my clientele so you can come to me and feel like I'm helping you out. But one thing we never sit there and say, where's the results? We're the people that went to Cheyenne Bryant and said, I walked away better in that sense. Versus if you actually went to a clinician, you'd walk away and say, I feel kind of bad. I feel kind of bad because the things that I held firmly on as beliefs that were pillars of my personality, my way of being, I might have to tear some of them down. I might have to realize I was kind of wrong. I've built a lot of defenses. I have maladaptive defensive behaviors around a lot of things that I should have let go a long time ago. And that's scary. And it takes time, effort to work through those. But if you guys just want to hear something that sounds good, I can do that all day. I can lie to you all day. I can pander to you all day. And this is by no means, this is just another level of pandering. This is not Ace Metaphor. And this is why I believe Ace Metaphor would grab someone like her for the show. It lends the scientific credibility to it. And you eat it up. Oh, she must be talking. She must be right. Because Ace will say something flowery, something that says that men are bad, right? At the end of it. He doesn't appreciate your blah, blah, blah. Insert whatever. And then she'll say something similar. Or at least nod. And you're like, okay, yeah, okay. But you're borrowing her fake credibility and going for that, pushing for that. Reality is it's messy. It's messy trying to unlearn a lot of your BS that took you years to form. It's ugly. It's dirty. It's mentally, it's metaphorically bloody. But it's supposed to be. It's supposed to be your crucible that takes you from this person to another person. If you didn't have to work for it, if you didn't have to struggle for it, then why would it matter? It would never be important. It would just be a thing that anyone can do. But what does it turn out? You need years of studying. You need years of schooling. You need years of studying to pass these exams, to maintain your license, to maintain your insurance, because the human mind and psyche is delicate and should be respected. It's not somewhere you could just take your Honda Civic. Hey, I need an oil change. Yeah, they do it right there. They also wash your cars. They also sell beef jerky. You can get whatever you need here. No, I need a specialized place that is properly trained. When you take that Audi S5 supercharged, I just don't want anyone putting their hands on it. I need someone that's certified, that I can go and check said certification. And I understand This comes with a premium, but I got a premium product. Are you not a premium product? Do you not deserve that sort of premium protection? I think you do. I think you do, right? But I'm just a guy, right? Yeah. Yeah. You have a good week too. We got Money Mondays tomorrow, right? But we're just about done right here, right? I just want you guys to go and realize you guys matter. Your attention matters. Where you spend your time matters. And you deserve the proper help when you go out and decide that I'm seeking it. You just can't. And we should start learning how to be a little more critical of the people that we solely decide are the experts in this space. Experts exist. Sometimes they're not sexy in a dress. Sometimes they're not easy in the eyes. This doesn't mean they're not more qualified. We have to get better at doing our own research, especially when it's something absolutely simple, right in the palm of our hands. It didn't take a detective to find out any of this about Cheyenne Bryant. Just took someone with the will. Corey Holcomb did it. Whole piece on it years ago. But it wasn't important because, well, you know, she's pretty. So they kept circling the spaces, right? Light-skinned, yellow bone, right? Thick in the right places was all people needed to say, oh, okay, that sounds good. How do we think the Black community is supposed to do better when we keep getting fooled by the most basic of grifts? I think that's a good question. I'll see most of you guys tomorrow when you catch the next set of videos, and hopefully see you guys on the first Monday Mondays. Sometimes mid-evening we'll do that. I'll see you guys in the next one.